I like that, Garrett. You're up. You're up. Still in Charlotte, North Carolina, for the Democratic National Convention, where they've had to. They were talking about the final day was going to be tomorrow night is going to be at the Big Panther Stadium, or you have to say the name of the. Like, what's the name of the Jets Stadium, Garrett? What is it called?
Oh, you mean MetLife?
That's right. And then in New Orleans, it's the Mercedes Superdome. Mm-hmm. And then here, I think it's I want to say it's the Time Warner. I think it's the Time Warner Stadium, or I don't know. But anyway, so I just call it, the Panther Stadium. Well, we've been having, big rainstorms. So they say no, not in the stadium, which holds 75,000. And then they were saying, well, there's not going to be enough people to fill the stadium. They couldn't get enough people, whatever that means. So now they moved it to a place with 25,000 people. Now they're saying they did it because they didn't think they had enough people. I mean, it is so silly. It is so crazy. But I have 4 tickets to the thing.
To the Bank of America Stadium?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Time Warner. You own something. I was at something that was Time Warner. I don't know what it was, but anyway. So one thing led to another, and they've done this. I have 4 tickets now. I may not be able to get in tomorrow night, and my wife is landing right as we speak to go to this thing. So she may have to go like at 3 in the afternoon and wait till 10 o'clock at night. No. She'll do it. What I'll do is this. I'll get off work at 6 tomorrow. I'll go. And if it looks like I'd have to stand in a big, long line, I'll text her and go, oh, it's a sellout, and have a great time, and I'll see you at 10:30.
You wouldn't try to cut?
No, I couldn't. I don't. Not in 20. Oh, excuse me. I think somebody just told me whole 17,000. So they went from 75,000 to 17,000. So
now is this Isaac still?
No, I don't think it is. And I just saw a few minutes ago, Shirley's on the way, or somebody. There's another one coming.
Wow.
First of all, to be frightened by something named Isaac. I said this in the promo. I mean, it was so. Can you imagine if Isaac had been big? I was an Isaac. Really? I've never even met anybody mean named Isaac. They're either a rabbi or like a really nice person, Hey, do you know my friend Isaac Green? Oh, hey, Isaac. Hi, how are you?
Never, Isaac Hayes and
well, yeah, and he was a nut. That's right. That those two, they were Isaac Hayes could be a rough guy.
Isaac Asimov, sci-fi writer.
Yeah, that's not a tough guy. You can beat that guy up in a second. Uh-huh. And the bartender from Love Boat, please.
He was a white black guy.
Exactly. So here again it starts. I have been vilified again on these right-wing websites because I said it's a choice between, and I didn't use the word black, on CNN. If you want it, by the way, I've never watched this stuff, but I sat down this morning, and it was a long interview with this Brooke Baldwin from CNN, and then I did the same thing on the morning show the next day.
They're both on your Facebook page.
Thank you very much, Christina. Welcome. By the way, you're in my phone as Cheetah. That's what I have in my phone as. I tried to spell Christina, but it came out Chita, Cheetah. Cheetah. Oh, and then if you read the Dave Barry column, which is in Miami's where he really was big. Mm-hmm. If you read it all over the United States, as Charlotte runs it, and I don't know what he wrote about us with the governor of Montana and laying on the floor and him teaching us how to castrate a bull. So that's in the Dave Barry column. Dave Barry will be here in a little while. He's covering it. Some people know who he is, some don't. There was a TV show called Dave's World that Harry Anderson starred in, and it was about Dave Barry. Him? It was about him being the writer. What they do is, who's the sports guy that does the countdown? They only have a minute apiece. It's I really
pardon the interruption.
Yeah, what are those two guys?
Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon.
Right. I like Wilbon a lot, by the way. I don't know why they didn't put him on Monday Night Football.
He does basketball.
So he couldn't do Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football or whatever it is. He'd have been great.
He's their basketball guy,
Kornheiser is from D.C. and a very sarcastic,
he's
cutting guy.
From Long Island.
Originally, but isn't he known in D.C. for some reason?
Yeah, well, he was a New York Newsday writer, and then now he's in D.C.
Right. Well, anyway, they made a TV show, and I read to play him. And so I go in and I read for the pilot and everything else, and they hired Jason Alexander. Mm-hmm. And I went, well, okay, I get it. And Jason is a nice guy and all, but knows nothing about sports at all. And then when you see the show, it has nothing to do with the guy who they're writing about, or who they're showing the show about. It has nothing to do with reality, with who they are. And they don't allow the person that they've made the show about to have any input into the show. So they're taking everything they've written, like this guy Dave Barry, or Tony Kornheiser, and they've taken all of the ideas that they've seen him do, and then they do a show that no matter what you do, it becomes about their daughter or some shit, right? Or their next-door neighbor. I didn't watch Dave's World. Harry Anderson was on it. But I'll ask Dave Barry, because he'll be the first guy I ever met that they've actually written a TV show about. Isn't it funny? I act on TV. I've been on radio. No one's ever said, hey, why don't we do a TV show about you and you actually know how to act? You could be on the show. And
that
you could play
this favorite, to play yourself in a show about you.
And then they rewrite it so it's nothing like me, right? I would have meetings with the guys that go, okay, now this week, Jay is going to come in from cutting the grass. Excuse me. Why would I, Jay, please don't say I. Can you just say he? What do you mean he? Because it's based on you loosely, okay? It's loosely based on you. Okay, why would Jay cut the grass? I don't cut grass. I know, but for this episode, you've just finished cutting the grass. And on a riding mower? No. You're pushing the mower. See? You're pushing. What? Yeah. And your wife doesn't like the way you've cut the grass. What? That's, and then your daughter. I don't have any daughters. Well, you got to have a daughter on the TV show. You can't just have all boys. Yeah. So, Seinfeld, if you watch the first year, looks like a regular sitcom. And the way you can tell it's a regular sitcom is the reaction shots. When you're shooting a sitcom, they have 3 or 4 cameras. And there'll be a master camera, which takes the entire room. It's like doing a play. And it's fun to do because you do it in sequence. Whereas with a movie, you do it out of sequence. Otherwise, a movie like Repo Man would never be made. The actors could not have known what scenes were going to follow what, or they would have quit the movie. But so in a sitcom, you're doing the show in sequence. And then there's a camera that'll be on the star and the second lead, so those are the 3 cameras. And then the fourth camera will kind of pick up the other actors, right? And so you do. And one of the things they do, and you'll see it in a sitcom, somebody says something, and then there's a reaction shot of somebody's face. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that reaction shot was taken from a whole nother scene from, it's like the TV show when they show people laughing at a concert. That may not be the laugh for that joke,
Oh, like at a comedy special?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you and I are editing, we have a camera on the audience, and we'll have the camera on a funny bald-headed guy with glasses, right, who's dying laughing. And, we'll add him every few minutes when we need somebody to, look like they're laughing. So when you watch that first year of Seinfeld, you'll see these quick cuts for these reaction shots. It's not a very good show. It's okay. As they went on and they gained control, Larry David and Jerry, they were very lucky, and I guess this guy Shapiro who ran it and some executive just loved it. As you watch it, they stayed with the master. Do you know what I mean? They just stayed with the group.
Yeah.
And what was happening was more like you watching a play. And the reaction shots weren't needed because, like with us, you don't need to see.
You know when it's funny.
Yeah, but you don't need to see our faces.
Yeah.
Like if somebody puts me down or says something and I'm quiet and everybody's laughing or whatever, you can imagine theater of the mind. What's happening or how we feel or what's even funnier is I'm sure you imagine this. I never imagined that Garrett has any expression on his face ever. And he doesn't. Except when he gets embarrassed, right, Christina? Sometimes he kind of goes. He doesn't have much space. He's only in about a 3-foot little perimeter there. He backs up a little bit. Have you noticed this about him? When he's not sure whether it's going right or not, he gets embarrassed, he just kind of.
Oh yeah, he kind of like
backs up in the corner.
With the wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you, during the show, no matter what's happening, you are texting, tweeting, looking. The phone is going at the whole time. Oh, yeah, the whole time the phone's going. Right? And then while I'm talking, I can feel the board vibrating with the whatever the fuck coming in. But anyway, so we'll have Dave Barry on. We'll ask him what it was like to, have a show done about him. It's like having a movie done about you. It must be unbelievable. Who was the crazy guy that was the mathematician? Russell Crowe. Yeah, Russell Crowe played him, right. That's a real person. Yeah. You hear Garrett in the background like that? He backed up. He didn't like that for some reason. 888-410-202. Let's go to James of Delaware. Also, before we have Dave Barry on later on, I've talked about guns quite a bit. There is a thought that with more guns, there will be less crime. And Rodney Lee Conover will always bring up to me that when a dictator takes over, the first thing the dictator does, and these are some famous stories, like maybe Hitler did it or Stalin would do it, they would go into a country and they would be having a so-called meeting with Estonia or whatever. They would get all of the generals into a room for some big meeting or a big dinner, and then they would tell the army or whatever they were going to retool the army, and they'd get all their guns, and then they'd kill all the generals and take everybody's guns, and then they would take over the country. So there are many people that say that when people like, the Democrats or liberals want to take your guns, it's so that eventually they could rule over you. We will have a guy on, John R. Lott, more guns, less crime. That's the... Now, you know what's weird about this? Do you really need to read the 400 pages of the book? You know what I mean? It's like, okay.
Well, he wrote it 9 years ago.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, and all the theories have been proven true, and so this is a third edition with like all the stats updated from 9 years ago.
Well, you know what I like about that? You write something, it's a flop, or not doing so well, and then because of the mass murders, your book becomes a hit. Man, that's got to be exciting for this man. I'm James. You're so patient. Yes, James, go ahead. Jay Thomas here.
Yeah, Jay. I just wanted to know, when you were down in Louisiana, did you take any of them tar balls up and take them to Charlotte with you?
Is that some sort of racial thing, James?
No, I just wanted to know if you picked up some of the tar balls.
Hey, James.
Yeah.
James,
yeah.
Is that a racial thing?
Well, I was going to say they were Obama eggs, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what's funny about it? It really is, and I mean this, it really is going to be great when, and we'll all be dead. But one day, one day, people like you will all be dead, and it'll be great. Because look, what you've been seeing and what you saw last night, and it's and remember now, I'm a Caucasian, I'm a white guy, right? But I can see I know, and I can see the future. I can see the future, and I am glad that I've been able to see the future. Now, you don't have to accept people, you don't have to like people, but you do have to accept them. But what you're saying is totally inappropriate and not funny. Okay, so if you're going to be a racist, at least think of something more interesting, all right? So I tell you what, why don't you, go back, and you must have an easy chair that's, covered in Confederate and Nazi memorabilia. Just sit in your easy chair, and then, certainly at a later date, something a little more interesting. Garrett, who was that general that they put the statue up in Selma, Alabama, and he started the KKK, and the white people there couldn't understand why the black people were upset.
Forrest is his last name.
There you go. Why don't you go read the life story of a slaveholder Forrest? All right, Garrett, get rid of this. Get rid of this guy. All right, no, there's no but. There's no nothing. By the way, this guy Rahm Emanuel that spoke last night, he and his brothers, I think, are rough like Chicago criminal rough. I think his brother's in show business. He is first of all, he didn't look like he wanted to give the speech. He talked for like 5 minutes. It was over. He was done. Right. He spoke at some breakfast and stuff. He's just a rough guy. He just looks like he would, do something to you. I don't know. He's got that. Even on TV, I have that thing now. As ethnic people get older, you get those dark circles on your eyes. My eyes now look like a rat. When a flashlight goes on a rat in a sewer? Mm-hmm. I have those eyes now. Yeah, I was noticing that. But he has those eyes. He doesn't look like a nice person. And James Carville, who has a head like a worm's penis, is not a nice guy either. He'll say hello to you and everything else. And he knows him from New Orleans. And he's not a nice guy. They blow you off, It's like they just blow. They every time I see him, I want to go. How do you wake up in the morning with a woman, his wife, Mary Maitland, who absolutely hates the individuals that you admire, and you have no interest in the individuals that she admires? How do you have a marriage like that? That would seem impossible to me. I'm sure at home they have these rules or whatever. Either that or they're both doing it for money. Or that marriage has been over a long time and they just say they're married. I don't know. But he has a head just like a penis. But a worm's penis, because he looks like a worm and a penis at the same time. He looks like those things you eat, those gummy worms. And his eyes are almost, closed. And he's real skinny anyway. Did you see the clips they ran of Mitt Romney losing the 1994 Senate election to Ted Kennedy? During a tribute to Kennedy for 50 years in the Senate, they showed these clips, and they had Romney saying, when it comes to pro-choice, you will not see me wavering on that. Did you know that, Garrett? There is a big thing of him saying, I'm pro-choice for the rest of my life. I'll never change. Wow. They got all this stuff on him, boy. All this stuff. Then they had Kennedy's most memorable speeches and political moments, and I got tipsy just watching it. All I kept thinking was, as soon as the speech was over, he had like a giant Jack Daniels and Coke waiting for him in the back. Right?
So when asked, will I preserve and protect a woman's right to choose, I make an unequivocal answer, yes.
I will preserve and protect a woman's right to choose, and am devoted and dedicated to honoring my word in that regard. I will not change any provisions of Massachusetts' pro-choice laws.
One of the great things about our nation, Sally, is that we're each entitled to have strong personal beliefs, and we encourage other people to do the same. But as a nation, we recognize the right of all people to believe as they want. and not to impose our beliefs on other people.
And with regards to this issue of age of consent, it is currently 18 years old. If one wants to have an abortion younger than that, one must have the permission of one parent, and if a parent doesn't go along, one can go to a judge or justice to get that permission.
I believe that abortion should be safe and legal in this country. I have since the time that my mom took that position when she ran in 1970 as a U.S. Senate candidate. I believe that since Roe v. Wade has been the law for 20 years, that we should sustain and support it. And I sustain and support that law and the right of a woman to make that choice.
Now, I want the voters to know exactly where I'm going to stand as governor, and that is I am not going to change our pro-choice laws in Massachusetts in any way. I will preserve them, I will protect them, I will enforce them. And therefore, I'm not going to make any changes which would make it more difficult for a woman to make that choice herself.
Can you imagine if I ran for something and you would run all of those things? Well, I would take a truck and we'd put the homeless to sleep. In fact, I don't know how you could do it, but it would be so much fun. Maybe Furlot can do it.
Like he's a slam piece?
Yeah, as if I were running for something. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine? And then I would go, well, like Al Franken. I mean, I don't know how he got elected. Are you kidding? He was Stuart Smiley, you know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he's going to, I don't know how he's going to be, I don't know how he's going to live that down. I really don't.
As he said, he's...
Oh, no. Look, you do not get the nomination without being a staunch anti-abortionist. You do not. What you guys don't care so much about politics, but what you have to realize is the Democratic nominee and the Republican nominee, they win the primaries by exciting the fringe, the nuts.
Yeah.
Right. The people that, you know, are all for the most left or the most right. I will tell you that everyone has said this. If Mitt Romney was pro-choice and they accepted gay marriage, I don't even know we'd be discussing whether Barack Obama might win or not. Because then they would go, well, now it's about the economy and let's give this other guy a chance. That's all they would do. By the way, do you know the Democrats did something that's never been done before, which is kind of cool? They took the word God out of anything they say in the planks of their platform. And this guy, Paul Ryan, jumped on that immediately. How dare they take God? I mean, it's really, that's cool to me. I mean, yeah, I don't, listen, did you go to church as a kid, Garrett?
Yeah.
Did y'all go to, you did. Which church did you go to? You know? Near your house.
Yeah.
I went to
Congregational church, I don't know.
Congregational church, right. And so that's unusual. Most people didn't, most people your age didn't go to church.
I did. So I hated it, and I fought it until I only had to go with my mom every other weekend, and I would.
And she's into it?
Yeah.
Still?
Yep.
Wow. So your mom will vote for the Republicans if she votes?
No, Democrats.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But she's also in, weird churches that people got kicked out because the minister was a lesbian, so they had made their own church in a basement or something.
She's a member of a lesbian-led church.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was a member of a church, Christina, where the minister in the middle of the thing pulled his pants down and exposed a butt plug that had a crucifix on the end of it. We went there. You know what? I was only there for the biscuits at the beginning because they had little biscuits. But when he did that, I turned to my family and I said, we got to leave. We got to get out of this church. Did you go to Catholic church? Catholic church is not even a church. It's like...
I was an altar girl. First one in my parish.
It's a culture, right? Now, did you ring the bells?
Yes.
Because you ring the bells.
My favorite part.
Do you know why you ring the bells?
No.
Kyrie eleison, Christi eleison. Yeah, it means body of Christ, You're calling on the Spirit.
It's after the wine and the
And did some of the priests, when you were the altar girl, for those of you who don't know this, the altar boys and altar girls, I was only an altar boy one time, and the thing I remember is for a few weeks, some priests wanted just a little bit of wine, and some wanted you to really pour the wine early in the morning. Mm-hmm. And some would drink all of the wine, and then they have a big giant host, right, and they pray over that's the body and blood of Christ. What I also remember about church is there'd be a group of people in the front that were a member of some group, and you couldn't have a mortal sin on your soul and take communion. So they would all go to confession, mm-hmm. and then they'd all go to church together on Sunday. Well, I was about 16 years old, and guys I played ball with, the guy's dad and all, they say, hey, come to St. Pius with us this weekend, and we're going to have breakfast in the morning at my house, and then we're going to go to church. And I went to Catholic, so okay. So I go to church, and there's about 40 or 50 of us sitting in these two rows. I'm not sure why we're there. I figure it's a VIP section. Well, when it's time for communion, they all get up and go to communion. I had jerked off that morning, and that's a mortal sin. And I was the only one, because we were taught, right, Christina, if you take communion with a mortal sin on your soul, that's even worse. Mm-hmm. You had to go to confession and be absolved of your sins. Even now, I'll sometimes be looking out of the window of an airplane, and I think, why didn't I just take the host? Why didn't I just go with the group? Instead, I sat there for what took, 20 minutes, and everybody knew that I had a mortal sin on my soul. And at 16, it's got to be jerking off.
You masturbate in the airplane?
I have masturbated in an airplane, but that was a long time ago. No, I look out of the window and I think, why didn't I just go with the group and take the whatever? Right? I was flying around the world once in a promotion. I've told you this, and I became delirious, completely delirious and insane. I shouldn't have done it, and we couldn't get off. If there hadn't have been a baggage strike in Japan, I think they would have had to administer to me. And I believe I flew 72 hours straight in an airplane. And first class and all that, but I was going around the world on the Pan Am 1, and then I would get off the plane and I would call the radio station where people were guessing how long it was taking me, and you won $1,000 or something. I even got off in Tehran. I was the only person let off the plane in Iran because they said I was with the press. Yeah. Well, I don't know where we were. Maybe after that, I become delirious. And I put the blanket over me, and I masturbated in the plane to calm myself down. I had to. It calms me down. I had a girlfriend once who, in the middle of the night, when she couldn't sleep, she broke the vibrator out, and she vibrated herself and masturbated and went right to sleep. So it'd be like 3 a.m, and I'd be asleep. And she'd be working herself over. And it had nothing to do with me having sex with her. I said, well, do you want me to? She'd go, no. She had this program that she was on. And the sex involves kissing and rubbing and movement, right? She'd wake up, couldn't go back to sleep. She kept the vibrator. It was prior bullet, but it was a small one. It might have been it was a pre-bullet. It was about I don't know, bullets are small, aren't they? It was about a 6-inch little thing. She'd whip it out. She wouldn't make any noise either. I would just hear. Oh, my God. Sometimes when she was doing it, I'd think about her doing it, and then I would masturbate off the side of my bed. We had quite a relationship. Someone says that disco diva Patti LaBelle belted out a profane tirade against the pregnant mother and her little girl in the lobby of a Manhattan apartment building. And she is going to pay $100,000 for shouting the F word. She called Rosanna Monk a cunt and drenched her with a bottle of water after complaining that Monk's then 18-month-old daughter was playing near the lobby door. Now, I thought she was, no, she just was yelling at the woman. She just went nuts.
Yeah.
You mean, wait a second now. Why would she have to pay $100,000 for that? Why would she have to pay $100,000 for that? Genevieve was in her arms, accused the Lady Marmalade of making the little girl hysterical. You know what? I will tell you why she has to pay. In fact, a friend of mine in New Orleans was a part of this famous case. This woman was at work, and it really was. It was a black woman, but she was a church-going woman, a very nice woman, about 50 years old. Her white boss comes in at whatever the place is. It was an office, and he said, "Get off your fat fucking ass and get to work," or something like that. Wait a minute, yeah. So now this was 20 years ago, maybe 15 or 20 years ago. It's a famous case, very famous case. I'll call him in a little while and get the name of it. And so the woman became so upset that she hyperventilated, and she had to be taken to the hospital. So she sued where she worked and her supervisor for doing this. They go, she was awarded $65,000. It was a long time ago. She was awarded $65,000, and the way that the opposing attorney fought against it was he played Richard Pryor and George Carlin tapes to the jury to show them that the word fuck and cursing was now a part of, maybe it had to be in the 90s then, was part of the comedic world, right? And the jury sat through it. Now, my friend's partner said, look, let them play the tapes, but have the woman leave the room so the jury sees it, right? So he did that. He had trouble not laughing at they showed real good comedy, right? So the jury still awards her $65,000. It was Monsanto. She worked for Monsanto, the chemical company. They took it all the way to the state Supreme Court of Louisiana, and they end up in front of this three-judge panel, and the three-judge panel threw out the $65,000, threw it out, and said that the guy might have said something inappropriate, but he was trying to get her to get back to work. It may not have been. If you try to impart injury on a person, if you yell at them and you cause them mental injury, but that's your intent. Mm-hmm. If your intent is to cause injury, then you pay $100,000. If your intent, like if my intent is to get you to get back to work, and I say, you stupid fucking asshole, if you don't get in there and start running that equipment better, just get the fuck out. You can't sue me for yelling at you. You can sue me, but it is on the books and it's a precedent. And the reason why the judges ruled against my friend and the woman, they said it would have opened up a door at work and at workplaces that then you would have had to decide what words were hurtful. Mm-hmm. Joyce, your chair is squeaking. Could you stop the squeaking? While that would, who knows what it would have been. So you can yell at an employee, and as long as your intent is not to emotionally disturb them, but to get them to go back to work, you'll win that lawsuit. So now you ask, well, it's unbelievable. He and I were the ones trapped together in the house during the hurricane. Huh. Yeah. So the $100,000, and I'm sure that it was a settlement, is because she verbally attacked the woman and probably caused the woman and the little girl some sort of, they say that if LaBelle had faced trial, they would have had to bring the adorable little girl into court. Oh, by the way, this woman and her daughter, they couldn't be any whiter. If Mitt Romney had the woman and it was his grandchild, they couldn't be any whiter. Rosanna Monk, her name ought to be Rose Whitefish. That's what her name ought to be. They are the whitest. The little girl is a big smile. The girl, Christina, I got to send it to you. Pigtails. And she's got a little purple bow in her hair. The court papers said that the child, now 3.5, has suffered, and I'm going to quote now, personality changes, sleep disorder, and an increased fear of strangers. Well, let me tell you something, Rosanna and your little girl. You never lived in a Greek or an Italian or a black or a French family, okay? All right? Christina, come on. How many times did an uncle go, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing with, oh my, Once I was cutting some paper on a bedspread in my room, and I wasn't just cutting the paper, I ended up cutting the bedspread. Mm-hmm. So when I pulled the paper up, the bedspread was completely, shredded. Oh, my God. When my mother and my aunt came into the room, they not only yelled, but they somehow said I was insane, that I had, done it on purpose. And they were going, oh, my God, you're insane. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no such thing as an accident. When I would do that, too. When I would cut things, I would cut through the tablecloth. No. Or the time that I accidentally, broke the thing in the shower that holds the soap. I was grounded forever. I had to break into my house once because I locked my keys out, and my mother walked in the door. I was sitting in the sink. I got grounded for that.
Oh, yeah. I busted a door. Oh, no, I busted a door in once because I was locked out. I thought my father, I really did, I thought my father was going to, one, die of a heart attack, but kill me before he did, because the lock was all splintered, right? What sort of person kicks in the door of their own home? Are you insane?
It is kind of crazy.
It isn't. I was locked out. I went around the house.
Go in the window.
I tried everything.
He would have gotten in trouble for that also.
Are you nuts?
The neighbors can see you breaking in, and now they're going to know how to break in. That's
who
the
locks
speech
their house? I didn't lock my house once.
When you live in Brooklyn, you lock.
You know what? You know what you are, Garrett. You know what you are, Garrett. You're one of those. Who locks their house? You're one of those. Okay.
We never.
How about out of 350 million people? Let me just say that some large portion of them, I'm going to go with 222 million, lock their homes. Okay, I'm just going to go with that, right? So at my home, sometimes the doors would be locked, and not even in a rough neighborhood. I come home from school, my mom had gone somewhere, door is locked, I wait, none of my friends are around, I can't play ball, nothing's happening, and I probably had to go to the bathroom or something. I go around and around the house and around the house, and I kick the door.
No hidden key, no screen.
We didn't have any of it, no.
Guess my family's just
Who locks?
smarter.
Hold on a second. Who locks their house? I've never heard anything like that.
If someone's going to rob your house, they're just going to break the window anyway. Then now you don't have to pay for a broken window.
After the Patti LaBelle suit wound up in the Manhattan federal court, LaBelle denied that she was liable in any way for the alleged claims of injury. She said the monks were more than 50% at fault. I don't even know what the offense was. What did she say she did?
The kid was playing in front of the door, probably when she was trying to get out. And this kid
was playing near the lobby door. Yes, that's right. And LaBelle couldn't get out.
It's annoying.
That mean woman over there with a 300-pound bodyguard yelled at my daughter. Wow. Oh, man.
Can't yell at kids anymore either.
No. Everybody gets a trophy.
By the way, Christina, I want to tell you that we've had a lot of people on, and I think that we've found the book. The title of the book is Everybody Gets a Trophy. And we write about how we think that is just full of shit.
Yes.
And it'll be by Jay Thomas, Garrett Andritz, and Cheetah. Okay, I see you want to talk to me, and we can do that at 888-4-102-102. More of our voice box. More guns, less crime. We can cancel this guest now, okay? Because I buy in that. And the humorist, Dave Barry, if you go to davebarry.com or you go to the Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. Or go to jthomas.com, I think, or just look it up. You'll read the article that he wrote. Funny guy, a television show and all that. And that's really all I've got to say. I really do have to pee. We'll be right back. 888-4102-102, Justin of New Jersey. Yes, Justin. Jay Thomas here.
Hey, Jay. Why do the commercials not play when you're on hold? It's really bizarre.
You know, get rid of him, please. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. I have no idea. I don't care. Who gives a shit, okay? Who gives a shit? Don't ask me anything about the broadcast that has something to do technically or with the commercials. I listen to one thing, my own voice during the broadcast. I don't know what else happens. I've never heard another show in Sirius XM. I have no interest in it, except maybe some music or whatever. That's it. I like one show. It's on from 3 to 6 every afternoon and 7 to 10 on Friday morning. That's it.
And Rich?
No, this is the show I like.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're on now.
But I don't want to hear and they send me things about the company. They don't even fucking know I work here, okay? They have no idea who I am. Many people think that's a bit. It's not a bit. Call the president. Ask him what time I'm on. He'll have to call a secretary to find out. I don't know anything about anything here. Now, someone would say, well, do you care? It's nothing they want me to care about. So I don't. And I give you this advice in your own life. Just go to work. Do your job. And when 5 o'clock comes, tell them if anybody's by the door, they're going to get run over.
In our case, 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Whatever. Let's go to Danny of Texas. Hello, Danny. It's Jay Thomas. Yes, sir.
Oh, hello there, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I'm out here crisscrossing the country, and I'm enjoying your show every day.
Yeah.
But,
thank
man,
you.
You are babbling some bullshit today.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, to start out with, it's not Stuart Smiley, it's Stuart Smalley. Most of the time...
Wait a minute, is it Smalley? Was that it, Smalley? Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You know what? I missed by one vowel, okay? I missed a vowel. All right.
I give you that, man. But why are you getting such a big kick out of Romney's what you would term flip-flops when anything Obama does, it's an evolution.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a second.
Okay.
If you want to, look, you could say whatever you want about Barack Obama or anybody, but we played some look, you cannot say that you were pro-choice and are for gay marriage just because you're the governor of Massachusetts, and then say, now look, you ask, I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask you this. If you were advising Mitt Romney, if you're advising him and we ran those clips, what would you say to him when he has to defend it? How would you advise Mitt Romney to defend himself?
Well, Jay, I, as much as I dislike the policies of the current administration, I thought it was brilliant for Obama to evolve so radically, 180 degrees. But the term evolved.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. I'm asking you one simple question.
Okay.
What would you, if when Mitt Romney, he's going to be asked that question, what would you advise him to say?
You mean whether he's for or against it?
Why he stopped being pro-choice and is now, definitely anti-abortion. Why?
Oh, I would definitely have to steal a play from the other team. I would say I evolved. And
that he evolved, that he looked at it, and it's murder. And okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. But the reality is this. Here's the reality.
Okay.
Mitt Romney will be the same exact president that Barack Obama is. Same exact president. He will not do anything differently economically. Paul Ryan's not going to get any of that shit passed at all. None of it. And Barack Obama will do the same exact stuff that Mitt Romney was or is going to do. I'm telling you exactly, because the American public will demand a certain way that the economy is run. The difference is that, socially, listen, you really like country club rich white guys? I fucking hate them. I'm a member of country clubs. I hate the fucking membership. I'm there because I like to play golf. You know, if my shirt tail is out, I can't play golf. You know that if I wear the wrong shorts, I can't play golf. If I don't have the right socks on, it's white fucking guys running these goddamn country clubs that are being, and Barack Obama plays with them also. They do. I hate them. I always have hated them. I hated them when I was a kid. I hated them. And so I say this on television. Why would I vote for the white guys that never had any room for me anywhere? I might as well have been a fucking one-legged Muslim as far as they were concerned, okay? I was a curly-haired Italian with dark skin who told jokes for a living. I was not invited to the Young Republican Club. And so fuck them. Fuck them. You know what? And if you're ever going to get any money, it's not going to be out of Paul Ryan. By the way, Paul Ryan isn't going to suffer when they cut Medicare or Medicaid. Romney's not going to suffer when they cut Medicare. They're not going to suffer at all. Are you kidding?
Not a single member.
You know what?
They're set for life.
Fuck them. You know what? Give me the guy that gives me shit. That's all I care about. Give me shit.
That's the difference between us, man. That's the difference between us. Hey, one other quick point before you.
By the way, I don't want to work for anything. I don't care whether I earn it or not. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Fine Democrat, baby.
You're damn right.
Before you throw me out. Hey, you threw the guy out initially at the beginning of the show for, I didn't even understand what kind of racial comment he made. But then you came back and made a joke out of the woman that sued for $100,000 that she was white as white could be. Is that reverse discrimination or what?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Oh, thank you very much. That's what I love.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, it is. Thank you.
You sure? Eased his mind. Oh, okay. Well, see you later.
That's right. By the way, if I see Patti LaBelle out of the side of my mouth, I'm going to go, tarball. Ah! Ah! $100,000, please.
Make sure to have an open bottle of water with you.
No, but you know what? No one's going to hear it but me. I go like this. Tarball. She'll go nuts and I'll get $100,000. You know what I'll say? Well, let me see what the little girl said. Let me get it back up here with the little 3.5-year-old girl. After Patti LaBelle yelled at me, hold it a minute. After Patti LaBelle yelled at me, where is it? My personality has changed. I have a sleep disorder and I have a fear of strangers. What's your name? Please get a picture of Rosanna Monk and her little girl, okay, who were the victims of Patti LaBelle's terrifying tirade. And I want you to play Patti LaBelle. Doesn't she sing Ushu Kalu Poo Poo Wee Wee Poo Poo or whatever? Play it so she can get some residual, would you? Let's go to Paco, who's in Tijuana.
Buenos días, señor J. Thomas. ¿Cómo está, señor?
Yeah, ¿cómo está, señor? Hola, ¿qué tal? Señor, ¿de dónde albóndigas?
I just want to tell you that you have a wonderful show, and I listened in yesterday. We also eat bull balls. You know, they're very delicious with ranch sauce.
You eat bull's balls there in Mexico, do you?
Absolutely, absolutely. They're a delicacy over here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say that I agree with everything you have to say, and I love it when you say, get rid of them, get rid of them.
You know what? If you're Mexican, how would you say that in Spanish? Do you know?
Quítalo la chingada! Quítalo la chingada!
All right, hold on a minute. He sounds like he speaks Spanish, Garrett. Christina, keep him on the phone and write it for me phonetically so I can say it in Spanish properly, okay?
Say it again.
All right, thank you. No, do it off the air, please. I don't want to be sitting here doing it. By the way, you're not going to believe this, but there were 10 people holding a sign in a heavy rain right here in Charlotte that said undocumented and unafraid, and they blocked an intersection as part of their protest. They're out of the rain now.
It's not raining in Mexico.
No, it's not raining in the jail. Yeah, and they are going to be deported this week.
Well,
what idiots. Undocumented. Wait a minute. Their spokesman, Gerardo Torres. What idiots.
Maybe they didn't have money for a trip back to Mexico, so they did this.
No, they were You ought to see there's some bald-headed guy with black tape over his mouth. There's one person that they're pulling a drone around on a cart. I mean, like a big drone. They're the most disgusting. These Occupy people, it has nothing to do with liberalism or what. They're the losers of the world. They're people that, they've got tattoos. Look at me. No one's looking. Shave my head. Look at me. Then they put all kind of, nails and shit in their eyeballs and stuff. Look at me. Then they protest. Look at me. Put their asses in jail. Okay? And you know what? If I was a cop with a can of mace and a billy club, that's how you say it down here, I would beat them senseless. All right? Yeah, beat them senseless. There's nothing more exciting than a protester with his arms over his head, Garrett, in the newspaper, as you're lifting your baton over them. All right? Okay? That's my favorite. That's in our book. What's our book's title again? I'll get it.
Everyone gets a trophy.
Thank you.
People were wondering, you don't have it. Okay. Well, I know even some of the people in your own party were very disappointed when you didn't close Gitmo. And I thought, I think closing Gitmo, why close that? We've spent so much money on it. But I thought maybe it's an excuse. What do you mean, shut up? Okay. I thought it was just because somebody had a stupid idea of trying terrorists in downtown New York City. Maybe that was it.
So this is where I got to yesterday in the Clint Eastwood speech. All right. So far, so good.
I've got to hand it to you. I've got to give credit where credit's due. You did overrule that finally. And that's so. Now we're moving onward. And I know I know you were against the war in Iraq, and that's okay. But you thought the war in Afghanistan was okay. You thought that was something that was worth doing. We didn't check with the Russians to see how they did there for the 10 years. But
okay, that's good.
We did it, and it was it's something to be thought about, and I think that when we get to I think you mentioned something about having a target date for bringing everybody home. And you give that target date, and I think Mr. Romney asked the only sensible question, and he says, "Why are you giving the date out now? Why don't you just bring them home tomorrow morning?" And I thought, yeah, I'm not going to shut up. It's my turn. So anyway, we're going to have. We're going to have a little chat about that. And then I just wondered all these promises, and then I wondered about what do you want me to tell Romney? I can't tell him to do that. Can't do that to himself. You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy.
Now, Garrett. So far, so good, as far as I'm concerned.
He blamed Obama for the war in Afghanistan, for starting the war in Afghanistan.
Well, I know.
And you just said, "All right, good."
Well, it wasn't as bad as I thought.
But they're all cheering that, like, Obama started the war there. And
yeah, I know.
Nothing to do with it.
No, he didn't. He didn't. But.
Like, I don't follow politics at all, and I know that. Yet these people are so rabid, they go to a convention for it, and they don't know that.
No, I'm just listening to Clint Eastwood talk, and this is a definite bit that he scripted, I think. But I don't know. But it doesn't sound as bad as the reports. They ought to bring him to the Democratic convention and have him talk to an empty wheelbarrow. Just have him, every day he ought to have a. Now, does Clint care? Has he said he gives a shit or anything about any of this? He doesn't care, does he?
Sounds like he does.
He cares? I mean, no. Does he give a shit that? By the way, is Chuck Norris also not warning us about Obama?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me hear Chuck Norris.
That's quite a commercial.
Yeah, let me hear this. Yeah. I mean, it's really funny. I mean, these guys they're pretend people. They're not real people. They're pretend people. I mean, Chuck Norris, I guess, could beat you up and all that, but I stood next to him.
Norris.
Still?
This is my wife, Gina.
Yeah.
We are here to talk about a growing concern we all share. If we look to history, our great country and freedom are under attack. We're at a tipping point, and quite possibly our country as we know it may be lost forever if we don't change the course our country is headed.
With our country at a crossroads, Chuck and I have asked ourselves what we can be doing to help support this great country we're blessed to live in, and how we can encourage our like-minded American brothers and sisters to unite and let their voices be heard. It is estimated that in the 2008 election, 30 million evangelical Christians stayed home on voting day, and Obama won the election by 10 million votes.
We know you love your family and your freedom as much as Gina and I do. And it is because of that we can no longer sit quietly or stand on the sidelines and watch our country go the way of socialism or something much worse.
Our only hope is for each of us to make sure we have not only registered to vote in the primary and the general elections for 2012, but to make sure our voices will be heard by casting our vote on Election Day.
As Edmund Burke said, all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men and women do nothing. Our great president, Ronald Reagan, said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same.
President Reagan went on to say that you and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We will preserve for our children this last best hope for man on earth.
Good God.
Or we will sentence them to take the first step into 1,000 years of darkness. If we fail, at least let our children and our children's children say of us, we justified our brief moment here. We did all that could be done.
Please stand with us. Let's unite for God and country, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. See you at the polls. Thank you.
Man, was that inspirational or what?
My God.
That is unbelievable. Now, how old is the wife? How old is Gina?
She looks about his age.
So they've been together for a long time?
I guess so, yeah.
No, Chuck, by the way, Christina, he's for real. He can really beat you up. But he's tiny.
Still? I mean, how?
Yes. He's tiny, though. He's not a big guy.
But how
he's still selling stuff. He sells stuff with Cheryl Teagues or with somebody or other on TV. Some old model he sells stuff with. But that is, if he's an actor and he did all that acting on TV, wouldn't you think he could read a commercial better than that?
She's 23 years younger than him.
Oh, can you imagine fucking Chuck Norris? It's so gross.
No, his body's probably still hard.
It doesn't matter. He's all like carrot toppy. I can't.
You don't fuck Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris fucks you.
That's right. Chuck. By the way, Chuck Norris just puts his finger up in the air and you come. There's nothing there to touch you.
Chuck Norris's tears cure cancer, but he never cries.
All of it. And what's funny about him is he is the most humorless individual in the world. He's, totally humorless. He doesn't smile. He doesn't joke. Nothing. I saw him in a 7-Eleven. I told you, buying stuff. And I couldn't believe how small he was. I was, and I'm not big. And he was standing there. He was really small. And when everyone walked out, they went, "Hey, is that Chuck Norris?" Yeah, and it was him. And, of course, his leg could go up in the air and just, while you're getting your Altoids in the 7-Eleven yard, he could kick you side of the head. Let's go to Kenny, who's in Scranton, Ohio. Scranton, Pennsylvania, I'm sorry. Scranton, Kenny, come in. Yes, Scranton. Kenny.
Yeah, Jay, how are you?
I love Scranton. I love the name Scranton. If I ever had another child, I'm going to name him Scranton Thomas. Yeah,
Scranton Thomas?
Yeah, it does roll off the tongue. Well, it has to be Scranton Smith is better. Scranton's a hard name. Yes, go ahead, Kenny.
Yeah, Jay, you were talking about illegal immigrants. Listen, I got a story for you here.
Sure.
Like where I'm from, Scranton. This happened maybe 3 weeks ago. There's a guy living in Scranton from Puerto Rico. He's telling his daughter how great life is in Scranton. So he coaxes her husband, and their 2 kids to come to Scranton. Well, by the time they get to Scranton, he's been evicted from his apartment, living on the street. So they go to the welfare offices, and the welfare offices in the county, Scranton and Lackawanna, are closed up. There's no welfare there. Mm-hmm. They went to the welfare department and said, look, we can't get you welfare, but what we can do is buy you plane tickets back to Puerto Rico. And they drove them from Scranton to the Philadelphia airport, and they gave them free airfare home.
So is that a good story or a bad story? I don't know. Is it good or bad?
Well, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, you talk about illegal immigrants. They're stuck there. They're going to get a free ride home anyway, aren't they?
They are. They are going to get a free ride home.
Yeah, but doesn't home suck? That's why they didn't want to be there in the first place?
First of all, Puerto Rico is a United States protectorate. Okay? Hold on a second. So you're not illegal when you come from Puerto Rico into the United States, you idiot. You're not illegal. You can come from Puerto Rico into the United States. They almost were made into a state. There's a senator from Puerto Rico that can't vote, but he's a senator. Are you nuts? You're not illegal from Puerto Rico.
We just don't like them coming here.
But we like going there.
We don't like them on the 7 train either. How about that? Look, hold it a second. Quita de la Chinstaya. Get rid of it. Whatever it is. I sounded Russian, didn't I?
You probably really offended somebody in some language.
Let's go to Michelle Obama. What a speech. This is your real voice during the day. That's a real...
I'm glad that's over so I can talk in my real voice now. You know what I'm saying?
The whole time I'm watching it, I'm going, that's not her real voice.
Did my ass look fine? It didn't look too big, did it?
You look
No, you know
great.
what? Your hair and all, you look like Mary Tyler Moore when she was young on television. That's what you look. You looked like an African-American Mary Tyler Moore to me last night. Yeah.
Oh, I take that as a compliment. I did about 50 curls per each arm before that speech to warm up,
Yeah. Well, you looked fantastic. There was one, and you loved that husband. Oh, my God. I could just see you two. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Fabulous.
That's called acting, baby. I tell you that much. I'm sick of his shit, too. The only reason why I want illegal immigration still is so we could ship his ass out of here. He ain't from here nohow. You understand what I'm saying?
This may be the last time you hear this bit, so enjoy it.
Hey, baby, we got Clint Eastwood and Joe Biden talking in that chair.
Yeah.
That's the same conversation I hear coming out of the office every time I walk by that door.
All right, Gary, get rid of him.
Is this thing on?
Shut up.
Start working on your Ann Romney voice.
Get rid of him. Yeah, and make sure it quivers. Thank you. Jamie, Houston, the Jay Thomas Show. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue, Jay. That restaurant, that fine establishment you mentioned the other day called Sambo's, the reason they changed it is because they got spooked.
All right, get rid of this idiot also. You idiots.
What's so funny at all?
No, never. By the way, I am going to look at a schedule, and I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to look at the schedule for the Democratic National Convention tonight and for the list of speakers that they will be having, and I'm going to make a major prediction. Christina, for some reason, it came up kind of weird, but I'm trying to... So tonight, Wednesday, is Bill Clinton speaking tonight?
Yes.
Is he? What time is he going? What time will he speak? Villagrosa, whatever his name is, from Los Angeles. By the way, for those who don't live in L.A., his wife caught him fucking a newswoman. So there you go. then some minister, Bishop Vashti Murphy McKenzie. I think whoever that is has pretty much covered all the religions. Then there's going to be the Pledge of Allegiance and House of Representatives, the mayor of Boston, somebody from, some Chinese woman from California, then this and that, then now 6 o'clock. Now let's see some remarks. Oh, my God. All night long, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, Stronger Together video with women's health. And then this is coming at 9 o'clock. Karen Mills will be up there. Bill Butcher. Wow, all these people. Starting at 9 o'clock, Garrett, not a soul will be watching the Democratic National Convention. Not a soul. You know why?
I thought at 8:30.
Yeah. Cowboys, Giants, okay? At what, 8:30?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cowboys, Giants, 8:30. That's pretty much going to be it for the country right there. Can you imagine? You've got two TVs. You've got a wife who wants to see the Democratic National Convention, and you've got a kid who's got an assignment that he has to watch it.
Oh,
all right. Look, one of these TVs is going off. Okay, right now. Okay. Oh yeah, it's Cowboys time. It's the Giants time.
Now I thought
they knew they were going to have what?
Did they schedule the game on a Wednesday because of the DNC?
They might have. I don't know. I have no idea.
Is Obama speaking tomorrow or something?
Tomorrow night he's speaking.
Yeah.
But Bill Clinton will be speaking right in the middle of, the first quarter of the game.
Wow.
I know.
No one's going to watch.
No, of course not. You'll be reading about it tomorrow. Not that you want to watch it anyway.
Who are you picking?
You know what? I tell you what, Jerry Jones, in my opinion, the owner of the Cowboys, has become the Al Davis of the NFC. His nosy ownership is ruining that team. Mm-hmm. And he's always looking over the coach's shoulders. Years ago, when I think Chan Gailey was the coach, I don't know if that's the right name or not.
Yeah.
They had that kind of inside the lines thing where they put the cameras on the team.
Yep.
He was in every meeting. He was helping them pick players and all. And it looked like he wanted to coach the team. In fact, there was talk that he was going to coach the team. You can't have it. You cannot. I mean, maybe if, I don't. Maybe if some ex-head coach was the owner, but you can't have what he does. I think he's ruining that team. No, they're not going to win anything. They're not going to go to any Super Bowls. Nothing. I think the Giants flatten them. They're already having some kind of trouble. Best thing that happened to the Oakland Raiders is that old fart died. The guy with the Elvis Presley hair. He was an old crazy fart. He was a nosy old fart in a wheelchair. I mean, he ruined everything. Firing the coach every year. They had a different. I mean, ridiculous, nuts.
Did you hear about our number one?
The owner of the Saints and the owner of your team, the Jets. They're active, but they're not in the sitting down with every player.
Yeah. They're doing what owners should do, not what GM should do.
Exactly. Thank you. Right.
Did you hear about the rules our number one fantasy football draft pick has to live by? Dez Bryant.
Our rules? What do you mean?
The Cowboys' rules. The Cowboys made him sign some contract that he has to live under these specific rules where he's not allowed to. Dez Bryant.
Well, he beat his mother up.
He can't go to strip clubs. He can't go out after midnight. He always has to have a Cowboy security guard with him 24 hours a day.
Perfect.
Switch, yeah.
Perfect. That's exactly correct.
And their whole point
that I like. That I like.
Straighten up. You can make money for your kids' generation.
Yes.
So just fucking straighten up and, in 20 years,
fly right.
Do whatever you want. Yeah.
Here's the other thing I don't get. It's like they really ought to make it like any other team. They ought to, if you get arrested or something, they're signing, multi-$100 million contracts. You get rid of them, and then when you get rid of them, remember, another team has to buy them from you. So they ought to put this in the bylaws of the NFL. If you have a player that is convicted, well, I don't know if you can be convicted, I guess, if during the season you have a player who is arrested, okay, you have the right to sit that player down. If they are convicted, you have the right to get your money back that you lost because they didn't play or whatever. And if you ship them to another team that is going to play them while they're waiting for their court date, that team has to pay you, 15 or 20 million bucks. They need to do. I mean, you got to get rid of these guys. They're scumbags. They're lowlives. They're zeros, and they're dumb as shit too. That's the sad part. They're going to end up being doormen at in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but when you were kids, all the athletes were doing this. There was just no way to know about it.
Oh, so you're saying don't report it?
Or just who cares what they do off the field? I just care about what they do on the field.
So if a guy knocks his mother around a little bit, it's okay, just so he can catch that football.
I mean, I'd rather not know about it. But if he can still catch the football, let him play. I don't care.
A woman says that a mother was potty training her daughters at a dining table of a Utah restaurant. Kimberly Decker posted on her blog this week, what's her blog called? Restaurant Shitting? That she has a photo of a toddler sitting on a potty training toilet at the Thanksgiving Point Deli in Lehi, Utah. I don't know where that is. We sat down to have lunch. I noticed this young mother was potty training her twin daughters at the table, and they've blanked out the little girl's ass. She has 2 of these portable toilets, and the children are shitting at the table. Oh my God, that is unbelievable. She had to undo their little jumpsuits, take them all the way down so they were completely nude. Their jumpsuits were down to their ankles, and they were eating their chicken nuggets and sitting on their little toddler potties. She posted the picture on Facebook, Christina.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to see it. Oh, man.
Sounds a lot like Octomom.
Oh, if I was in the Democratic Party, I would run that and say, Mormon family values. That's exactly what I would do. Yeah, Mormon family values. Meanwhile, in Detroit, Joe Biden went to Detroit, I guess, and they stole. Somebody stole the Secret Service U-Haul. The vehicle was full of metal detectors, and Secret Service equipment, and they found it, and of course everything was out of it. It was gone. Jesse Jackson's Escalade was stolen 2 years ago. And Detroit's mayor, he had his Yukon Denali was taken also. They're not afraid of anybody there in Detroit. They could care less. By the way, a Secret Service guy stopped me and took his fingers and he poked me in the chest for no reason. I was leaving a venue and I was starting to walk out to a parking lot, and this young guy. Now, first of all, they're wearing vests that say Secret Service. If you're secret, I don't think you have that on your vest. That's your secret. So they have a vest that looks like a ski vest, but it's a, Kevlar or whatever it is. They have a big old giant gun, big old pistol. So I'm walking out of the venue, and I don't know why the guy did it, but he stands in front of me, a young guy, and he hits me in the chest. And so I go, what are you doing? And he goes, what do you think you're doing? I go, well, I'm about to walk out of here through this door. But I said, I am going to come back in a few minutes. I'm just going to get a pass or something. So the guy gets rough with me. So some superior guy comes over and he says, what's going on? I said, well, this guy here, who apparently thinks who couldn't find a terrorist if he was his roommate, has just poked me in the chest. I said, what's going on here? So the older guy says, well, that's inappropriate, like that. I said, what I'm saying or the guy poking me? And the guy didn't have an answer for that. He just said the word, that's inappropriate. So then he talks us out of it. He says, okay, everybody be quiet and, relax or whatever the deal was. I think they have deputized young policemen or something. I do not believe these are real Secret Service agents. There are thousands of them everywhere. And here's the other thing. They're all in a group. So if I was a terrorist, I would just wait till a group of Secret Service agents goes by me on motorcycles, and they have these little kind of small little dirt bikes, and they're riding regular bikes, but they are all bunched together. I would just wait till they go by. I mean, look, if somebody wanted to blow something up, they could. There's no metal detector. If you're in a car, they check the car. But if you wanted to walk into the venue and, I don't know, put some plastic explosives, under a fast food restaurant and blow it up, you could. I guess it stops something. I have no idea what it stops. But if you want to get in there, and unless you're going to bring a bomb in your trunk, you can get right in. If you're walking, they talk to you, but you don't walk through a metal detector. Now, this is just to go downtown. So that's what is odd. It's just, now when I came back, which was just 5 minutes later, that checkpoint was gone, completely gone. And, it made no difference. These people that get into law enforcement, there are a lot of them that are fantastic, but they're a bunch of punks that like to get into law enforcement. It's like a toss-up whether they become a criminal or a cop. It's weird. And this guy was a little punk. Oh, man, I wish he'd have really done something to me. I could use a couple of $1 million from the Secret Service. I wish he'd have taken the butt of his gun and knocked all my teeth out, Garrett. Remember that when Clint Eastwood was beating the guy up in Dirty Harry and he was laughing and smiling?
That empty chair?
No.
Oh.
No, in Dirty Harry, the guy lets him beat him up because he knows he can sue the city of San Francisco. Roger of Portland, Oregon. Yes, Roger, it's Jay Thomas. How are you?
Jay, hey, I live in Portland, Oregon, but I'm originally from outside of Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
I have an opportunity to take a job in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I've never visited it, but it's a pretty good job, and I was wondering if you think I should take it.
Now, Albuquerque is a nice town, but Portland's a great town. So you don't get to visit Albuquerque and walk around a little bit and figure it out. I think you can figure a town out in a weekend,
Think so?
I mean, Albuquerque's a nice town, but, Portland's really cool. Very cool. So you haven't visited Albuquerque? You're just going to take a job and arrive in Albuquerque? That's odd.
We'll see what happens, but...
What do you mean you'll see what happens? What does that mean?
I don't have the job yet, but it looks like I think I'm going to get it.
All right, hold on a minute. Go get a cheap... Listen, lots of people are not flying to Albuquerque, okay? Get a cheap ticket and leave on Friday and go to Albuquerque for the weekend and look around. I was going to move to Boulder, Colorado. We bought a house and everything. And everyone said Boulder, Boulder, Boulder. So we go to visit Boulder, and I made an investment, a really good investment on a house. We're going to remodel it and all that. So I said to him, hey, you know what, let's move away from California. Because I thought really that I could, get acting stuff when I was really acting a lot, that they'd call me and I could, So we went and spent about 4 or 5 days in Boulder. And I found it to be the stupidest town I'd ever been in. And they had these Hare Krishnas, and they were hitting on a drum and shit, and everybody was drinking the Celestial Seasons, tea and all that kind of crap. And I said, and we sold the house, and we did not move to Boulder. We made a profit on it. So what you have to do is, and I love Portland. I mean, I go there all the time. My son goes to school in Tacoma, but I love Portland, Oregon. Yeah. But, Portland, Oregon is the #1 heroin capital of the United States.
Part of the problem. Oh, yeah. In fact, I live across the street from Reed College, and they say this is the capital of the capital.
Right. So you live in an area with heroin addicts. Well, maybe you ought to move to Albuquerque, because there they have mostly methamphetamine.
I like them better. I mean, they're up and they're
So
down.
you want to move to Albuquerque. So then don't ask for my advice.
Yeah.
So you're not asking for advice. You're asking for permission. I give you permission.
No, Uncle Jay, it's not like that. I'm asking.
No, get rid of him. Ila fascina para sumpabumbu. That was Swahili, Garrett. So get rid of him. Yeah. Bernie, you're in Oakland, California. Yes, Bernie, it's the Jay Thomas Show. He wrote the book. He's coming up in a few minutes. More Guns, Less Crime. That's the book. And he says, guess what? It works. And then the humorist and the funny guy that wrote a nice article about us hanging out together, and we're actually hanging out again tonight. I might have made a friend. Dave Barry will be here later on. The great columnist from Miami, won a Pulitzer Prize and had a TV show called Dave's World. Go ahead, Bernie of Oakland. Yes, sir.
So, how are you? I'm just listening to you talking about the Secret Service business. And
so you're an Australian guy and you tried to imitate Ira. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I open with a J, or just for a bit of fun because I'm a big fan of Ira.
Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Thank you. Get rid of him.
Put him down
Thank
under.
You. Yeah. You were praying for me to do that, weren't you? You were just praying. All right, look. I said I opened the phones and you wanted to talk to me and everything else. It was a mistake.
Close the phones.
The phones are closed. No, let's go to Tyrone. Yes, Tyrone, it's Jay Thomas. Hello, how are you, Tyrone?
Hey, Thomas, I just got a question about all that.
All right, get rid of him. Get rid of him.
Just play voice box for the rest of the
Yeah, we will. By the way, Michelle Obama has been portrayed by a Spanish magazine as a 19th century French slave with her nipple exposed. Magazine Fuera de Serie has superimposed the face of the First Lady over an 1800 painting called Portrait de Une Nigrese, which is Portrait of a Black Slave by a French artist. The artwork depicts a female French slave in a white gown and a headscarf with one breast beard. They're calling her Grande Mujer, great woman, I guess. The great woman behind President Obama. Some experts see the image as a homage to slaves' emancipation. Not in this country, to slaves' emancipation. Yes.
Homage?
A homage, yeah. You ever heard of that? A tribute.
Homage?
Homage?
No, it's called a homage. Not an homage.
No.
That's what bullshit pseudo-intellectuals say. Yeah, it's a homage. It's a homage.
It's a homage.
You know,
Okay.
do you say humble? He's humble. He's an humble man.
Horse devours.
It's not homage. That's bullshit. That's with an O and an H in it. So it's so funny that the Spanish think that it's so funny over in Europe, isn't it? They think printing a picture of our First Lady dressed as a slave with her tits showing, it's like, oh, magnifique.
It's arty.
Oh, it's a tribute. It's an homage. Homage. A man trying to create a Bigfoot hoax on a highway, Randy Lee Tinley. You know this story, Garrett?
No.
Highway 93. I'm trying to see what state this is in. Montana. If the governor comes on, I'll have this on. Randy Lee Tinley, who is 57 years old, camouflaged himself and wanted to resemble like the grounds in a tree. He wanted to look like Bigfoot. And he was going to jump out and scare these two kids, a 15-year-old girl and a 17-year-old boy. Well, he jumped out to scare them, and they ran over him and killed him. Randy Lee Tinley tried to create a Bigfoot hoax on Highway 93 and was struck and killed. That is fabulous. That is he was well into the driving lane, according to his companions.
What was he?
Who were helping him to incite a sighting of Bigfoot, to make people think that they had seen a Sasquatch. He goes out into the highway, and he is run over by teenage drivers and killed. And the sod and the grass and everything that was on him apparently flew up in the air, and he was splayed on the ground, dead. So, look, I would like to go to that funeral, and as he's laid out in the coffin, stand in line, and when I get to the dead body, go like this. What's that man doing? Right, just stand erect. I mean, come on. I mean, that would be just perfect.
You think he's going to be up for a Darwin Award?
Yes. Oh, there's no doubt. There is no doubt. A woman has tried to shoot a skunk, but instead shot her husband. College Station, Texas. She saw the skunk, and she tried to shoot him with her .45 caliber handgun. That's a good. By the way, instead she shot her husband in the stomach. The woman isn't being named. Really? She must know somebody at the sheriff's office. She missed the skunk, and it ricocheted off of their deck, and it got her husband in the stomach. Oh. Man. Wait till the skunk goes home and tells his friends. So I'm over there by that deck. That crazy bitch just shot her husband. Man. A gay couple has sued an airline after the airline staff tapes dildos to their bag, pulled their bag out at the Continental Airlines in Costa Rica, and they were flying home to Virginia, and they taped their dildos to the bag, outside of the bag. So when it came out in the thing, you could see the dildos go around. That's one way to mark your suitcase, isn't it?
Oh, they took the dildos that were in the bag and
taped them to the outside of the bag. Oh, man, I love it. They were taped to the outside, smeared with a greasy, foul-smelling substance. So they made it look like they had been up somebody's ass. They have sued United Continental, alleging airline staff were responsible. They wouldn't know where. Where would they? And they're seeking punitive damages because they had emotional distress, invasion of privacy, and negligence. You know what I say to that? My ass.
Who are these girls that take dildos on vacation?
No, it's a gay couple.
Oh.
Christopher Bridgman and Martin Borger.
If you're a gay couple,
now this is in the
need a dildo.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
You each have a dildo.
Yeah, but you know, maybe they can't sleep. Yeah. Christopher, what are you doing? I can't sleep. I just can't sleep. Do you want me to do? No, I don't. I just want to use this and go right back to sleep. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Martin, stop looking at me. I can't go to sleep and dildo myself at the same time. Stop it, Martin. Martin, turn over.
How silly would a guy look dildoing himself in the ass to sleep? This guy, that position you have to get in.
Well,
your knees are by your ears.
Well, I guess, yeah, that's right. You know what? Give us a couple of minutes so we can think about the position. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you. I'll tell you how rough Chicago is. During the Rahm Emanuel speech last night, murders in Charlotte even went up. That's how rough Chicago is, yeah. Let's welcome John R. Lott, John R. Lott with 2 T's.com. More guns, less crime, understanding crime and gun control laws. Now, he's an American academic, former chief economist of the United States Sentencing Commission. And this is the 3rd edition of More Guns, Less Crime, Understanding Crime and Gun Control. And welcome to the show, John. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me on.
Now, one of my producers here, Garrett, said this book came out 8 or 9 years ago, and now with what's going on in the United States, the book's become more popular again, right?
Well, it's the 3rd edition of it.
Yeah.
There's about 300 pages of new material that wasn't in the first edition of the book, which came out 12 years ago, or actually 14 years ago. But and a lot of updated things. You've had everything from the assault weapons ban that sunset in 2004. See what happened to crime rates after that sunset, as well as a lot of these multiple victim public shootings. You've had issues about the bans on guns in Washington, D.C. and Chicago, the impact that those had on crime rates, lots of issues, other types of laws, stand your ground laws. really weren't an issue when the first edition of the book came out. And obviously now, as we've seen, there have been debates about those. And this book is the first study, really, that's been done on stand your ground laws.
So you, like the thing that happened in Florida. See, my problem is, and I'm a gun owner, but I don't have machine guns. I have, shotguns and stuff. But my thing is there's some, and we by the way, we curse here. This is uncensored radio. There are just so many assholes that want to have a gun, and I really don't want to be in a room when something goes down and get caught in the crossfire of people that aren't going to gun ranges and know what they're like the other day. I believe the cop shot the guy out in front of the Empire State Building. Do you know that they've gone and shoot the guns, but none of those cops had ever drawn their guns. Most of them had never drawn their guns in a violent situation. They shot the bystanders. They killed the guy, but all the stray bullets shot the bystanders. Do you not worry, even though your stats show that we'd be safer, do you not worry that you and I and friends of ours with guns would start shooting and our loved ones would be killed, like in a movie theater or in a church or something?
Right. Well, we don't have to guess about these things. We have a large number of these multiple victim public shootings that have been stopped by citizens with permanent concealed handguns.
I didn't know this. Would you give me some examples? I don't remember. I read all sorts of minutia from the newspapers. I don't really remember a lot of stories, and I'm looking for them. So it's not like I'm not looking for them. I don't remember a lot of stories of someone pulling a gun, a private citizen, and stopping a multiple shooting. Can you give me some examples from the book?
Sure. Well, sure. I mean, there's a lot of them. About a quarter of the public school shootings have been stopped by citizens with guns before uniformed police are able to arrive. You have cases like Pearl, Mississippi, you have Paducah, Kentucky, Santee, California. You have university shootings that have been stopped, like the attack at the Appalachian Law School in Virginia about 8 years ago. You have mall shootings that have been stopped, like in Salt Lake City. You have church shootings that have been stopped, like the New Life Church in Colorado about 4 years ago.
I have to tell you, I'm going to have to go and check because I mean it. I don't remember reading as many episodes of people stopping it. I mean, I think that's kind of cool. I mean, if a guy's going to shoot somebody and you have a gun and you pull it out and you stop it, I think that's cool. I just didn't. Do these things, are they kept from us by the news media?
Well, they usually don't get a lot of attention when it stops. I mean, you look at the public school shootings. If you go and do a Nexus search, which is computerized news search of news stories, you'll find only about 1% or so of the news stories will mention how they end. When you have a citizen stopping them, when a police officer stops them, about 36% of the news stories will mention how it ended. Mm-hmm. And something like the New Life Church, which we were just talking about, I mean, you can Google it pretty easily. And
so one of the people stood up. The guy had a gun, and one of the people at New Life Church stood up, and they shot the guy who had come in to kill people?
Yeah, he just didn't stand up. What had happened was he had killed two people at another location. Mm-hmm. And then he had gone to this church. He had killed two people out in the parking lot. There was a member of the church named Jean Ashan, who had concealed handgun permit. She had kind of a messy divorce. Her husband had been ex-husband had been stalking her. And so she had a concealed handgun permit, and she had asked the minister whether it was okay for her to be able to carry on church property. The minister gave her and 14 other parishioners permission to do that. A lot of the media at the time that did report it talked about her being a security guard. she's just a member of the congregation at this mega church who had asked for permission, and the minister said fine. And anyway, she was just inside the front of the church when this guy attacked. When he went in through the door, she shot him 9 times.
Wow. Now, when you read this story, do you just get like almost sexually excited? You go, wow, this is what I've been telling people. If you had guns everywhere and you just whipped that weapon out, our crime rate would go down to what, do you think? Would it, I mean, how many people would you like to see packing heat?
Well, the problem that you have is that even when you have a significant number of people carrying guns, there are places where guns aren't allowed. So, for example, you look at the attack at the movie theater in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Movie theaters in Colorado, other private property places are allowed to go and put up signs that say these are gun-free zones. And so, in fact, that is what happened at the movie theater in Colorado. Even though you have almost 5% of the adult population in Colorado having concealed handgun permits, no one at that theater had a concealed handgun with them because it was posted, and so they had all obeyed the law. And one of the interesting things is I used movies.com and I called up the theaters and I used MapQuest. If you look at the theaters that are within 20-minute drive of the address of the killer there in Aurora, Colorado, where he lived, there were 7 movie theaters that were showing the Batman movie on July 20th. Of those 7 movie theaters, only one had postings for banning concealed handguns, and that's the one that the killer went to. There was another movie theater that was close to his house that was only a mile away from his apartment, and he didn't go there. The one that he went to was 4 miles away, but there was another one that was 5 miles away that was not posted. It had the largest movie theater auditoriums in the state of Colorado. You would think that might have been an attractive target for him. But basically, there's only one out of these 7 movie theaters that was posted, and that's the one he went to. And in fact, that's what you see all these times. I was just mentioning this attack in Salt Lake City at the mall there. Well, you have a number of malls there. Only one was posted, and that's the one where the killer went to. And and I don't think it's by accident.
Well, my question was this: John R. Lott is here. More guns, less crime. The understanding crime and the gun control laws. How many people would at age 18? Would you give it an 18-year-old? So if 200 million people over 18 wanted guns, you think that would be okay in our society?
Well, we have about 8 million people right now.
Only 8 now, right?
About 8 million people who have concealed handgun permits. I mean, you have 5 states where you don't need a permit to carry, really. Alaska, Arizona, Wyoming.
I'm asking you again, though. What do you think would happen to us as a society if 55 or 60 million people?
I don't think everybody needs to have it. I mean, look, so we got 8 million. It varies a lot by state. I mean, you have some states like Pennsylvania where you have like 820,000 people with concealed handgun permits. I think if there are other states that were similar to Pennsylvania, things would be safer.
And you don't think stray bullets and a kid getting shot by the person trying to save you, that doesn't worry you? Wow. That would... look, listen, I have to tell you, obviously, if I'm armed and some shit goes down and I pull a gun out, but the thing is that these incidents, as they say, I mean, being killed by a terrorist or being shot by somebody like one of these nuts, the odds against it are in the millions.
Look,
right?
Here's the bottom line. Yeah. What you find is that concealed handgun permit holders are extremely law-abiding. they lose their permits for any type of firearms-related violation at hundreds or thousands of 1 percentage point.
But if we opened it up, do you think that the people that, like, if you decided, like Christina, who works with me, Christina, if you could carry a gun and you take subways at night and everything else, would you carry a weapon if it was legal to stop somebody from trying to rape you? Would you carry one?
Of course I would.
You would?
It would be pink.
But would you really do it, or you're kidding?
Yeah, if it was legal, sure, why not?
Okay, all right. And
I
you'd
would
carry
never, ever want, my first intent was never to use it. But
right. But you would carry a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what does that say, John, about Canada or England and the many countries that have very low crime rates and murder rates, and they have strict gun laws? Is it just too late for us? We've already stepped over the line. So your book is advocating what the hell, go all the way?
Well, if you look at the UK, for example, they do have a fairly high violent crime rate. Their violent crime rate's about twice the U.S. rate. Their murder rates are lower. But the thing is, they had an even lower murder rate relative to the United States before they had any of these gun control laws. Their murder rate in the UK has actually gone up since they've imposed stricter gun control laws. They've had 3 big waves of gun control in the UK, 1920, 1956, and then again in January 97. And you can see after each of those laws that got passed, you've had increases in murder rates and violent crime rates. And the problem that you face when you try to go and pass a ban on guns is the issue of who obeys the ban. And what you find is that it's the law-abiding good citizens and not the criminals who obeyed it. So you look at the movie theater shooting in Aurora, Colorado. Who obeyed that? It was the law-abiding citizens who had permits, didn't go and break the law to take it into the movie theater that was posted. The guy who was intent on doing the killing, in fact, that was an incentive for him to go there because he knew that rather than making it more difficult for him to commit the crime, it actually made it easier. I mean, let me ask you this. If you were being stalked by a violent criminal, seriously stalked, God forbid.
As soon as I was scared and I had a gun, I would shoot them before they did anything, and that's another problem.
No,
I would shoot them early on. I would shoot them early on. I would wound them in each foot, and I would torture them before I killed them. I'm not joking. If I was allowed to carry a gun and you were stalking me or somebody was stalking me,
raping?
Yeah, whatever. John R. Lott, more guns, less crime. John, thank you very much. All right?
Thanks very much.
There you go. All right, Garrett, I've changed my mind. Arm us all. I want a trident. Look, I guess if everybody, had a gun, what's weird is you're not ready to be attacked usually. So, like my son always makes fun of me because I'll have the shotgun with me. He made me this sawed-off shotgun, and Gary, you'll love the shotgun because you can either have the stock against your shoulder, or you can crank it down and shoot it like a shotgun pistol. But I said to my son, what would happen when I shoot this thing? He says, well, Dad, it's going to kick like hell. So, and you don't want to put your hand on the barrel because you'll burn it. So I use the stock, but you can hold it really tightly. But it's like in the movies, you would shoot it and you'd go flying back, into the headboard. But you have to have the gun loaded and ready to go. So this guy we just had on, what a fabulous title. More guns, less crime. That's a pamphlet. Why 300 pages? And if you had a gun at the ready, you have to have it ready to go. And no locks on it or anything. So you hear somebody creeping around there in your living room, and you grab that gun. And Christina, you hope it's not your dildo by accident. You grab that gun. You push the safety.
Mm-hmm.
and then you would sit there and wait for the rapist to come while you had your pink-handled revolver in your hand. When you saw the figure, the dark figure in the doorway, and your boyfriend is out sleeping with another woman that night, but you think he's at a baseball game. When you saw the figure, would you just fire, or would you say, "What are you doing here? Who are you?" Would you say something first, or would you just shoot?
I honestly don't know, but I've watched enough Law and Order SVU that I think that I'd go right for the kneecap, and then once he's
no, you don't go for the.
What do you mean?
You have to shoot at the mass of the person. Yeah. First of all,
you make
a pistol.
them not run anymore. Kneecap.
Center mass.
No, you'll miss.
What if I kill him?
Well,
that's the
point.
Who
are you?
No,
Annie Oakley Stein? Who are you?
I'm not going to be a murderer.
If you point a gun at someone, your intent is to kill them.
No, my intent is to wound them.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah.
And stop them in their tracks.
You
You're
can't
murderers.
wound them. There's no wounding.
First
of all, Garrett, I throw my trident first.
What is that?
My trident goes right through the air, and that strikes him, and then I follow with the gunshots. Let's welcome Dave Barry to the Jay Thomas Show, who I wasn't even a fan of until I met the other day. By the way, Dave Barry, many of you know his column for years in hundreds of newspapers, and humorist, and of course in Miami, he is so famous that the 2 or 3 women that, in fact, we're going to dinner with him again tonight, who are from Miami, was just so excited to meet him. So he started in Miami. His new novel, co-written with another friend of mine, Alan Zweibel, Lunatics, a novel, hopefully made into a movie, and his Starcatcher book, the new one, co-written with Ridley Pearson, that came out in August, The Bridge to Neverland, and Dave's newest novel, Insane City, will be out January 2013. The great Dave Barry, and today, if you'll read his column, he says he was hanging out at the CNN Grill. Welcome, Dave, to the show.
How you doing, Jay?
I'm good, man. And he says, I was there. They do not hang out just anywhere. They hang out where there is free liquor. So that's the opening line. But what I love is you said actor, comedian, radio host, lunatic. That's what you called me in the thing. And by the way, I'm having them send your column to the president of Sirius XM.
Yeah, you told me you wanted to get in the newspaper, and
that's right.
I did my part, man.
No, you really did. It's a huge article. And also, the hotel that you're staying in, all kidding aside, on the local news, and let's say the name of it. I mean, what's it, the city? No, don't say the name of it. I'm not going to say it. It really was, there was some sort of bed bug alert. And
there's a sign in the office. This should have been the first real giveaway for me, besides just what the place looks like. But the sign in the office says, in big letters, no refunds after 15 minutes.
No, it doesn't say that.
I swear to you, I will take a picture and email it.
Well, we're having dinner tonight. Please bring that to us. Also, in the article today, he says, a question, how old is the hotel? Some rooms are occupied by troops still waiting for deployment to the Civil War, Garrett. That's how old the hotel is.
And I think
now, Dave,
also horses. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, Dave, the other night we were at this thing, and Jeff Bridges had been there, and James Carville came in, who I said has a head. He looks like a worm, but he also looks like a penis at the same time.
He definitely doesn't look human. I mean, the thing is, the closer you get to him, the more he looks like that he definitely didn't originate on this planet, and he actually doesn't speak either in a way. I mean, when you talk, do you understand anything he's saying when you talk to him?
He is from Carville, Louisiana, where his family, I'm sure, found the town. And that is the traditional, what they call Cajun, but we call the coon-ass accent. And it is like Bobby Hebert, who was our great quarterback down there, and Jake Delhomme, who's a quarterback there and had played in Carolina. They have a Cajun accent, yes. That's what it is.
He pronounces it in the exact same voice as the Aflac duck. So it comes out like, and I didn't, honestly, I sat there and I was taking notes, and in the end my notes just said Carville, because I never understood a word he said, and I'm sure it was important.
Well, you know what, though? He's not friendly. He shakes your hand, but he doesn't care about you. And it's obvious.
Yeah, he's kind of a cold dude.
Now, you've been married a few times, and so hopefully you've gotten the third one correct. I know that I have. If you were married to a woman, and I don't know anything about your politics, but if you were a Democrat and you were trying to get somebody elected democratically, and your wife, which is was it Maitland, whatever it is, she is not just opposed, but her job is to vilify everyone you like and you the same, and they really do hate the other side. How would you manage that in your own marriage?
I don't think I could. And the thing is, I guess, are they still together, Carville and Madeline? They used to go.
Well, you know what I was saying? They may not be, but they've never announced they were broken up. So I assume they are still together. Yeah.
But one night I went to, this is back when I think it was 96, the Republican convention was in San Diego, Bob Dole and Jack Kemp. And I ended up at dinner with them somehow. And, like I thought, it's got to be an act. They go on stage and they argue, but they really love each other. But they really seem to hate each other. So I don't know how they make it work. They had a baby.
But yes, they did. They did.
I don't even get how that works because we have established that Carville is not actually human. So I don't know how that worked.
Here's another one. How do you know he's coming? Because his face always looks like he's coming. He's got that pinch like, I'm coming face.
Maybe at that moment. Maybe when he actually ejaculates, he looks like a really normal person.
His face just relaxes.
Yeah, suddenly, that's what he looks like.
And by the way, we have a lot of people that listen out west because there's no radio signals in these shithole states that they live in. And Montana, we get a lot of calls from Montana. The greatest governor in the world was there. It's like Albert Schweitzer, right? His name is Brian Schweitzer.
Brian Schweitzer. Have you told your listeners how much we love him, Brian Schweitzer?
I have, but here's the weird thing. I just said penis, right? He was waving. I was talking to you, and we were sitting there with Jeff Greenfield, right? Who's a real reporter and is out of work and didn't look happy, and you had brought a woman from Miami, or she met you there or whatever, who was rubbing my tricep, and this big man begins waving. And then sent his security guard over to say, the governor of Montana doesn't want you to leave. You were sitting with me when it happened.
Right.
And I said, well, I may want to leave. I didn't know what he meant. And he said, no, he wants to talk to you. And then when he came up and said he was a fan of the show, I mean, Dave, we say fuck and shit and the whole thing here. And he says he listens every day that he's in his combine or wherever the hell it was. And what he liked about the show was he had a bet with his security detail. How many times?
The state troopers of Montana, they have an over-under every day. They're driving around in the official governor car, listening to you and betting on how many times you're going to make a dick joke. According to the governor.
Yeah. Well, you weren't on 1 minute when we talked about Carville looking like a penis. So
apparently, it's a recurring thing. But honestly, I have to say that I've never met a more exciting politician in my life than Brian Schweitzer. And I think, let's be honest, both of us would have had sex with him if he'd won.
Well, that's true. And you, and I don't know where this question came from. We were sitting having a nice time. And I turned away, and then all of a sudden when I turned back, I was calling my son to tell him I was with the governor of Montana. We're going to go hunting. When I turned back, you're kneeling down with your pad, and the governor of Montana is on the floor. What got him to start talking about castrating bulls?
I said to him, you're a rancher, right? And he said, yeah. And I said, have you ever castrated a bull or a steer or whatever it is? And he goes, hell yes. And then he got into this 10-minute long how to castrate. I mean, way more detailed than I was interested in hearing. And he got down on the floor because apparently you don't do this standing up. In case anybody needs to know, you don't stand up when you.
Well, no, the balls are lower to the ground. You got to get under the bull and.
Well, you got to get the bull on its side, and then somebody has to sit on its head, which would be the job I'd want. I would want to be, if I had to be involved, I'd want to be on the head end of the bull and not the other end with the governor. But he was like into it, and then remember his last line was, and then you throw him in the bucket.
And then he said, great. Well, unbelievable. And, then he said, Letterman loves me, which I could tell by his energy. Well, then, of course, I call my son, who, of course, thinks, we're completely drunk. And we were drinking, but we weren't drunk yet. And I said, man, we're going to Montana. We're going to stay at the mansion. And all kidding aside, and we just met, and I'm really crazy about you, and we had a great time. And prior to this, and I mean this, and I'm going to be honest, and these guys know me, I couldn't stand you because you were so famous and you won all kind of things, and I would read your thing and I would go, this isn't funny. And it was because Garrett backed me up on this. He did better than I do, right? I mean, that's the reason, isn't it?
That's always the reason.
Yeah, and you do family-friendly stuff, and I always say I'm going to be a writer, and then I write something and everyone hates it. And so then you write your 5 books, and you got the column every day and the whole thing. And I used to go, I bet he doesn't look like this either. That's the other thing I used to say about you.
Does he?
Yes, he does, exactly. He does. He looks like a little kid. The book, by the way, that you want to buy, Lunatics by Alan Zweibel and Dave Barry. Now, the Starcatcher book, is that a series of books?
Yeah, Ridley Pierce and I wrote a series, prequels to Peter Pan for Disney. They're kids' books. And the first one, Peter and Starcatcher, got made into a Broadway play written by Rick Ellis, the guy who wrote Jersey Boys. And I really can't claim credit for it because Rick Ellis really changed everything around and made it much better, to be honest. But it's really been great. It's been fun having a play on Broadway.
Now, when you steal an idea like that's world famous, do you have to, let's say today I decide that I'm going to write the prequel to
Twilight,
Harry Potter.
Yes, I'm going to write the prequel.
You would be so broke so soon if you tried to do that. The difference is Peter Pan, after 70 years or 100 years, I can't remember what it is, everything goes into the public domain. Although we actually did end up in Europe paying some royalties to the heirs to Jamberry's estate. But if it's a recent character like Harry Potter, no, you get sued.
Now I could write a prequel to Robinson Crusoe, right?
Yes, you could. Nobody would read it because nobody knows who that is, but you could.
I could write a prequel to give me a good one from. I know what. Hold it a second. A prequel to.
A good one. I wouldn't tell you, Jay. I'd write it.
You know what? Not without me, you wouldn't, you prick. Now I wrote a musical with my writer, but it was a great one of the musical called of the Easter Bunny. It was a musical, and we wrote it, and I played the Easter Bunny in the Disney movies Santa Claus. Did you know? I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did know that.
Yeah. So. My buddy and I write it, and I'm not going to sell it to Disney. I know since I played the Easter Bunny, I feel as though I know what he really thinks and how he feels. Yeah. So we write it, and my buddy says, "Well, look, let's make it a musical." Yeah. He makes it a musical. My buddy Roddy makes it a musical, and I say, I can't believe we've written all these songs, and I said, we'll get my son to write, and we send it out. And people are reading it. The manager sends it out. And then we read that 2 other Easter Bunny movies have been sold for $1 million apiece. And we go to see Hop, and I swear to God, it is the movie that we wrote, very close to it. And we didn't know what to do or who to sue or what to say. And I called my agent and my manager, and they went, well, we have no idea who could have done that. So that actually kind of happened to me. But now maybe I had such a normal idea that anybody could have written it, but
didn't it bomb? Didn't it really bomb badly, Hop?
Yeah, and you know what? I would have still liked some money even out of the bomb.
Oh, I can't say. Oh,
you know where the Easter Bunny lived in my movie?
Where?
Easter Island. And at one time, those statues, they had big ears on them. They were Easter bunnies. And an earthquake hit, and that's in Hop. Can you believe that one? Oh, yeah, we were so pissed off. So, Dave, you know what? So many people always ask how people get started. Like, how did you get in radio? How did you be an actor and stuff? And I'm going to have you tell the story, actually. You were in a little newspaper in Pennsylvania, right?
Right. I was,
and you were writing a column, right? And you would just send it out.
Right. That's right.
Right.
I would Xerox it and send it out to newspapers.
And finally somebody liked it, they started paying you, and the next thing you know, you're syndicated, correct?
Yeah, basically. I mean, it took 2 years, but yeah, that's what happened.
If you were starting now with the internet and blogging and, YouTube and everything else, would it be more difficult for you to get noticed because there are, 100,000 people writing what they consider to be, humor stuff?
I think it would be more difficult, and I also think it's more difficult to get paid because so many people write so much stuff for free, and there's so much, and a lot of it's horrible, but some of it's pretty good that people write on their blogs and Twitter and stuff like that. So that the filter's gone, but there's a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of it's free. So I think it's just harder for to get started that way. I think it's why very few people try to write humor, just written humor. I think it's much more likely they're going to try to write sitcom pilots and movie scripts and that kind of thing.
The big stuff. Yeah, they want to write. Yeah, they want to write the. People always want to send me an idea for a movie. You know what I say to them? If I could get something sold, don't you fucking think I would have sold something by now? Yeah. And they go, well, wait till you read mine. And I go, look, hope that I steal it and it becomes a hit. You'll make a lot more money suing me later, after I take it. What is the book Lunatics about? Alan Zweibel wrote for Saturday Night Live forever, and he writes for Curb Your Enthusiasm also, and has been around forever and is a great writer. What is the book Lunatics about that you two wrote?
Well, he had this idea. Zweibel had this idea that he would be one character and I would be one character. They're two suburban dads. My character is an asshole, and his is the sweetest guy in the world. And they're both involved in a soccer game. His character is the referee, and my character is just a dad, but a real asshole. And my dad objects to. This is told in alternating chapters. One is in his character's voice and one is in mine. My character gets pissed off at a call his character makes against my character's daughter. And it goes back and forth. And, they don't like each other, but they keep running into each other. And within several chapters, by total mistake, they become wanted international terrorists and hijack a clothing optional cruise ship. All unintentionally. And then it actually gets weirder after that. So, but that's the premise of it, just going back and forth. This little tiny soccer feud keeps escalating until it becomes bizarre. Now,
when you got his chapter, and he...
Doesn't it sound really not funny when you describe it?
Yes, it does. It sounds awful. It sounds absolutely horrible. It's exactly the shit. By the way, it's exactly what I said.
Tell you what.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's wacky and zany, Jay.
No, when I first heard about it before I met you, I said out loud, that's the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard. I said, Zweibel must need a fucking car or something, or got a divorce or some shit.
No, his daughter got married.
Yeah. We'll have people on here that write a book, Barack Obama, the real Barack Obama. And I used to start with, apparently you wanted a Porsche, you needed a new car, right? And sometimes they'll laugh a little bit. But a lot of times, they take offense. But don't you, like the guy we had on before you has written a book called More Guns, Less Crime.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that.
And the book is about...
for Miami, man.
Would you carry a gun if you could? Would you have a gun? Well, you could in Florida. Would you feel comfortable carrying a gun when you go out to eat? Like a shoulder thing? How about your daughter and your wife? Would you like them to carry a weapon?
I had this discussion with my wife. It would not bother me a bit if my daughter had a pistol and learned how to use it.
Okay.
Because, she's 12 now, but she's going to be older, and the world is, I don't know. As I said to Michelle, suppose she ends up living in an apartment somewhere. She's a responsible person. There are bad people out there. I would trust her with it, so it wouldn't bother me if she did. I don't feel, personally, I've never felt a need for it. I live in a pretty safe area. I know that doesn't mean there'll never be any crime, but I just don't think the risk is worth it for me to have a gun around. But I wouldn't be upset if my daughter did. On the other hand, she never will, because my wife is Jewish, and Jewish women are kind of biologically opposed to firearms, as far as I can tell.
My wife is Jewish and I almost said Amish and Quaker.
I thought you said she was Quaker.
She is a Quaker. She's that.
What?
You know what? You're like everybody else I know. Her father was Jewish. Her mother was a WASP, and they became Quakers. It's not like a thing you're born with a bonnet on. It's
So you mean
it's not
Jewish
the
by
guy
ethnicity, but Quaker by religion.
Yes, it's not the guy with the hat on the oatmeal box. It's a real like a religion. Nixon was a Quaker.
No, I went to a Quaker college.
That's right. Did you go to Penn?
No, I went to Haverford.
That sounds like a Quaker college.
It is. Our motto is, we never heard of you either.
Go to DaveBarry.com. So now, Dave, let's get to the thing. You're at the Democratic National Convention. Do you think that anything you've heard said or watched, do you think anything is making a difference for people who are wondering whether they should vote for Barack Obama or for Mitt Romney? Is there anything going on that and you went to Tampa also, so did you see anything at either one of these? Yeah.
The answer is no. I mean, I've been to every convention since 1984, and every one I go to, I become more certain of one thing, which is almost nothing that happens inside the bubble has any effect on anything that's happening outside the bubble. You get really fooled when you're here into thinking that, somebody gives a good speech, everybody's excited about it, whatever. But I will say the only thing that anybody asked me about when I got out of Tampa, the only thing was Clint Eastwood.
I just ran the Clint Eastwood thing today, and I did not think it was as bad as everybody else did, and I felt kind of stupid saying that, but...
No, you're right. It wasn't as bad. I mean, it wasn't. If you go by how people have reacted to it, it was one of the better things that happened to the Republicans.
He sounded old, but he had a plan, he said Gitmo, and he blamed Afghanistan on Barack Obama. That was a little bit of a mistake, but other than that,
he also made not one but two "fuck yourself" jokes, which has probably never been done before at a political convention. So
he said the word "fuck yourself," or he said that.
No, he didn't say it. He said,
but he's
talking to the chair now, and he goes, "What? What's that? I can't tell him. He can't do that to himself." I mean,
now look. Now in 1984, in those years, you weren't married to your current wife, were you?
Correct.
Okay. Was it easy to get laid at these conventions? Because, you're a guy, if you and I were single, I mean, my God, we'd have them in the room, upside down. I mean, we'd be having a great time. And, absolutely.
I was never single, so I can honestly say it never happened to me. But I have a feeling.
Wait a minute. Those wives are gone. It's okay now. The statute of limitations. You never got laid. The cute writer, the comedy writer, nobody ever just went down on you because you were the cute writer at the convention, ever.
Ever.
That is the saddest fucking thing I've ever heard. It really is. I'm not joking. It really is. No, I'm not kidding. I wouldn't say it in front of my wife tonight at dinner, but I'm going to say it to you. That is stupid. I mean, what's the use of having fame and being funny and you have floppy hair and you're very white and cute? You look like you ride a bicycle to events. Women like sleeping with guys like you.
Well, you know what? All my life, people have been telling me that women really love a sense of humor and all that. And I don't know whether it's just I give off the wrong vibe or I do something wrong. But that has not been my personal experience. That's the absolute truth. Now, a stud like you, maybe, but me, no.
No, you know what the difference is? I'd walk in the room with an agenda.
I know you do. I watched you in action. I don't mean this kind of action.
But I have an agenda. I'm going to either meet someone or talk to someone or whatever. But, if I'm at an event and there's women and drinking and you're unencumbered by whatever wife you had or whatever, part of the thing is you should be able to say, oh my God, I got the shit fucked out of me at that event. You know what I mean? I mean, come on.
Well,
and all those women there are kind of slutty. Don't you think? They're all desperate, all those women.
You're talking about every woman in the entire city of Charlotte? Is that what you're saying?
No, at the event. The ones that really care about the event and all of that, they're all excited. They want to have an experience. Yeah.
I don't know. They are excited, but I don't know that that's the experience they want to have.
The woman you introduced me to was rubbing that muscle in my bicep that has a little ridge to it. Now I don't know what that was.
See, she recognized you. She saw you across the room, and she wanted to know who you were. She Googled you. She wanted you bad.
Now, your wife is a sports writer. I hate women sports writers.
Why?
Well, because I've never sat with a woman at a bar and I hate all the women on TV. I mean, except for who's the one that Joe Namath tried to kiss. I like
Susie
her.
Colbert.
I love her. But the rest of them now, and I'm sure your wife's a wonderful person and a great sports, but that's kind of odd because you're kind of a namby-pamby, non-sportsy guy. And your wife...
I like sports a lot. I like sports. I went to the Olympics, but my wife is a very big sports writer.
You went to the Olympics.
Doesn't that count?
Not that you're a big sportsman because you went to the Olympics. It just shows you have money. Okay. You could buy a ticket. That's all. So Michelle, is her last name Barry?
Nope, Kaufman.
And she writes for the Miami Herald?
Yeah, she's Cuban Jewish. Cuban, they call themselves.
And she is a well-known sports writer in the Miami area.
Yeah. She's well-known.
So two things are going to happen here. Because I'm going to tell you now, we're my entire family, I've already told them, we're coming to Miami and staying at your house. I've already told them. Can't wait till you meet my new friend. So you that I didn't like, the humorist, who now I'm crazy about. And in fact, now what's happened, you know what happens now, Garrett. I read 3 words of his first sentence and I'm already giggling, right? See, if I like a comic, Dave, and I go to see a comic, when he says good evening, I go, and a comic named Shuley that works with me, he hates it because he goes, Jay, it doesn't sound like a real laugh. I said, it is a real laugh. I like you so much that I know you're going to be funny. And now I'll meet your wife. We'll talk sports, and my opinion of female sports people will be changed.
You'll love her.
All right. Now, was she a dyke before you got married? Huh?
No, not as far as I know.
When you marry a woman that writes sports, who's been in locker rooms with, large black penises and testicles in her face.
The locker room thing is the thing. You have to deal with that. And before our daughter was born, she was on the road all the time, traveling with large groups of men and end up in locker rooms with a large group of naked large men.
Right.
That's unnerving. Yeah.
Were you ever worried?
I wouldn't say worried. I mean, I trusted her, but I didn't like it at all. Mm-hmm. Even though I have personally a gigantic penis, as you know.
By the way, Governor, that was for you. Because he's listening in a patrol car right now. So Dave, I want to ask you, Dave Barry, by the way, go to davebarry.com. He and Alan Zweibel have Lunatics, the book. His column out of Miami, but in hundreds of newspapers. The Starcatcher books, the idea that he stole from Peter Pan, and it's done very well, The Bridge to Neverland. And his newest novel coming out in January, Insane City. What do you think of the guys wearing vests that say Secret Service?
That is the dumbest thing in the world, man. I want to go up and say, look, you're not fooling anybody with that vest.
And the other question is, once Dallas and the Giants kick off tonight, who will not be listened to at 8:30? Isn't Clinton's going to speak right in the middle of the game?
I don't get it. I think that's a stupid decision. Because you're right. That game, everybody's going to watch that game.
Yeah.
That's a good game.
So now your wife is going to be glued to the TV?
I'm thinking that even Bill Clinton will be watching that game, on one of the 2 teleprompters.
Yeah. Or he'll give the score during the speech. Well, look, read the column today because it mentions me a number of times. Go watch reruns of Dave's World. And here's the other question. Harry Anderson played you, and I was talking about the Kornheiser show that was done that I actually read for, and then Jason Alexander played him. And I remember the script, and I was, early on being considered for it. And the thing is, it had nothing to do with the end of the day with Dave Kornheiser. Was Dave's World anything like what your life was really like, and they made a show about you? Was it
No,
close?
It was the same thing as what the Kornheiser said. It ran for 4 years, so it did okay.
Yeah.
But it absolutely, I mean, you would never know that the guy was writing my life is I sit around all day and write a humor column. That's what I do. And his life was, he was having all kinds of wacky sitcom things happen, and then every now and then he would have his envelope, a manila envelope, and he would hand it in and say, here's my column, which is like, that really isn't how it works. You don't hand your column in a manila envelope. But anyway, no.
Was his wife a sports writer?
No, she was just a sitcom-y wife.
I remember that actress. She's really cute. She was a Southerner, right?
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but she was cute. And she was like a bodybuilder or something.
Right. Did you have a boy? They had a boy and a girl, and do you have a boy and a girl or two girls?
No, I had a son, and I ended up with two boys on the show.
Two boys on the show. So when you saw the show taped or whatever, and you are Dave Barry and it's Dave's World, what was that like?
Weird. And it got weirder, because people started, the show, a lot of people saw the show, and they started assuming, A, that I wrote it, and B, that it really was what was happening to me. It was just strange. And I had nothing to do with it. I was in Miami continuing to be a humor columnist while there's this whole building full of people in L.A. writing and producing a show. So strange. It was strange.
Did they call him Dave Barry? Was his last name Barry?
Yeah, they did.
So they did it so that your readers would watch it, right? I mean,
I think so, but I'm guessing that there were probably more people watching the show than reading my columns, at least at the peak of it.
There were. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I already know how to act, and I'm on the radio, and I have a wife that if she's listening to this show today is not going to be happy, and so there's a real show here, and I could actually play myself. And I would hate to be playing myself, and yet in the room they wouldn't allow me to be myself. They'd rewrite it, where I had a daughter or whatever, and so
that's why you don't want to have a television show made about your life.
Because I have a daughter who's a raging lesbian with spikes, and I'd want to have her on the show. She's a recovering heroin addict, and I'd want to have her as a big part of the show. And she lives with a black woman down in the bedroom downstairs. I'd want that to be a big, because that's a laugh riot, going down and your daughter's in the arms of a huge black lesbian. So right. Well, you're laughing now. See how funny it is? All right. Hey, Dave, fun to meet you, and we'll see you tonight. Also, DaveBarry.com. The Lunatics is the book, and the column is every day, and the Starcatcher books are coming, and then Insane City. Yeah.
Hey, stop promoting.
No, you know what? Part of the thing is, I know you're here and we're just bullshitting and stuff, but I want people to buy stuff. We sell stuff. It works.
Well, tell them to just send me money in a box.
Oh, they will. They will.
Okay.
Dave Barry, and you're continuing to cover the convention.
Democratic. Yes.
And you just sit down with a pad and you write everything down. It's not very modern. I would think, Garrett, what would you use if you were a writer now? What electronic thing would you use? Would you use a pad and a pen? Or
no. Well, what a lot of comedians I know do. There's a program for your computer that makes your whole screen go black, and you have to click something specific to get back to like the internet and stuff. So it kind of locks you out of roaming or looking at porn or whatever.
No, but he writes by hand. He has a pad.
I don't. I was just taking notes about government.
Well, that's by hand. That's by hand. Well, I mean, in the room. No, but a young person would not have a pad and a pencil.
You could ask Siri to take a note for you.
No, he writes notes. Is there some more modern way? All he was missing was the card that said press in his hat. That's how. Yeah.
Jay, you're completely full of shit. If you were to look
No, I'm not. I'm not. You had a pad, a little notebook.
No, I know.
You know how I know
I did.
that?
I'm
I said to my friend, look. I said to my buddy, look at Dave Barry and his humor pad. That's what I said.
If you ever were to actually get out of the radio studio and watch reporters, you'll notice they all take notes on little pads. Then they go back to their computers and write stories. That's how it works, Jay.
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. I truly hated you prior to meeting you, and I mean that. and I've hated women's sports writers and women's sports announcers forever. So this has been such a, I don't know what, an epiphany for me. And you know, you've changed my life, Dave Barry.
Well, later on we'll eat dinner and we'll hug it out. We're
going to Dressler's tonight.
Okay, I'm there.
Okay. All right. See you tonight. Go to DaveBarry.com and you'll find out all about him. And I'll see you later. Stay where you are. And we'll be. Is Kumar? Is he Kumar? Which one is he? Yeah.
He's the Indian one, not the Asian one.
Is there really any difference?
Kumar,
you know,
I would guess.
One has almond-shaped eyes. The other one has slits. He gave a speech last night, and he's from these ridiculous movies. Is he the answer to Clint Eastwood for the Democrats?
No, he gave up working in movies for a couple of years and worked under Obama's administration.
I knew that.
People to vote and stuff. So he's got his hand in politics.
And now he's back doing what is it, Kumar and who was it?
Well, he was in like Harold and Kumar,
Christmas
the White
and all that.
Castle, and he was in Van Wilder.
Yeah. So now what is he? Is he an actor again, or is what is he? Is he still working for the president?
He's like trying to get to that like George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon stage where they're all like political and
Harold and Kumar
still an actor.
3D Christmas.
It wasn't just recently.
I think that when your name in the movies is Kumar, you have a little more trouble. I mean, you know, you've got George Clooney is doing,
exactly the
Syriana.
Kind of closed-minded thinking that we don't
Cheech Marin.
Oh yeah, what is he?
He turned into a cop sometimes on a TV, or
no, that's fine. I'm talking about in real life. Kumar's trying to be like George Clooney, who could run for something.
Oh.
Yeah. We're not. You know, I mean, can you imagine, Cal? You're voting for Kumar. You know, what a waste.
Obama.
Well, which one is he? The Indian or the
Asian? His name is Barack
Asian?
Obama.
He wasn't an actor, though. He didn't play Indian Joe in a movie. You know what I'm saying? He's a person.
Cal Penn is American. He's an American citizen.
Then why is his name Cal Penn?
Jesus.
Touche.
COWPEN is not a good name for me. Cal Penn. Stupid name. Hey, Calpin. Hey, Hairlip. Why don't you call him Hairlip?
Hairlip.
Hey, what's that guy's name? Cal Hurd? Isn't that guy's the Hurd on ESPN?
Yeah, Colin Cowherd.
What a terrible announcer. Terrible. Complete asshole. I don't know. It's like something that Jim Rome shit out. Right? I think Jim Rome is awful. One day he took a shit and Colin Cowherd came out. Just awful. They are absolutely terrible. And here's the worst part. They sound like people that never played a sport. And it's really difficult for me, and it's one reason why I don't like women sports announcers, especially the young women they use in the college games and all, who give you the most obvious, well, Bob, I was on the sidelines, and Nicholas is not going back in the game, but Coach Anderson said that they just have to keep fighting and try and tackle better. Thank you, Gail. I mean, what a waste of salary is the big part. That's what I think. Why waste the money? And the color announcer, listen tonight, they cannot let one play go by without explaining every play. Well, they ran the ball off right tackle. Well, they ran the ball off right tackle because they've got Johnson's going in motion. Yeah, he likes to go into motion. That's what he really likes. Let a couple of plays go. When you go to a football game, Watching football on TV is almost like going to a movie and someone talks for the whole movie. Watch this. Wait a minute, you see that door? Oh, look over there. Look at that door over there. Oh, wait. Do you think she loves him or not? That's exactly what... Let the goddamn thing go by for 5 minutes, for Christ's sakes.
I started getting into soccer, football, that kind of...
Really? No, you mean football.
Football.
And
maybe it's because I'm new to the sport, but the they don't do any sideline reporters. There's no cut-in.
Right.
But just the announcers, the way they describe the game, it's very honest. They'll call someone out if they do a shitty kick or whatever, kind of. But it's not so over the top and down your throat like they do with football, with 3 announcers in the booth, 2 guys on the sidelines, and it's easier to watch.
Well, the reason why soccer isn't bigger in the United States is, first of all, kids stop playing it, for real. They stopped playing it at about 12 or 13. I had 2 sons, right?
Yeah.
They both played soccer. My son played in a high school, or junior high, not in high school. But the thing is that there's no timeouts. So it's hard to make money because it just runs, right? It runs like an hour, and you have to watch the whole damn thing. How do you even go to the bathroom? You could miss a big header or whatever the hell it is.
Well, they do 45-minute halves, so they have like a...
You can't piss for 45 minutes? There's no timeouts.
No, and they don't go to commercial anymore.
No, they don't. They
used
can't.
to try to squeeze commercials in. They don't do...
Yeah.
They don't even do, like, commercial pop-ups in the corner. But, all the teams have ads on their jerseys. Like every
they look like race cars.
Is sponsored, yeah.
Right, yeah. Well, I like that.
Yeah.
By the way, they sold stock in Manchester, whatever it was, and oh God, it was a big queue of people buying that stock like it was the Green Bay Packers. Except my wife's one of the owners of the Packers, and they don't get anything for their stock. They're just but that is really a stock you can trade.
Yeah.
Manchester United. This is a very sad. Do you have any wedding march music, please?
Yeah.
And the names of these people. Maria, she is beautiful, by the way. I mean, she might be an actress or was an actress. Maria, Pantazopoulos, certainly is Greek. Pantazopoulos. Wedding music. Not Rocky, you idiot. It's a wedding.
This is wedding.
Oh, there it is. I thought that was Rocky.
March.
It was kind of Rocky-ish.
It was kind of Rocky-ish, wasn't it? It'd be funny. In the movie, Rocky runs up the steps in a wedding dress and then does a twirl. And then I'm going to give you the other name. Louis Pagakis, Pagakis. And he was taking wedding photographs of Pantazopoulos, and he told her to go into the Ouareau River, the Ouareau River in Rawdon, Quebec, wearing her wedding gown, Christina. And so he was going to take the photograph of her in the river. So she goes into the river, and she's posing, and the wedding gown gets heavy and wet.
Mm-hmm.
And she slips, and it drags her underwater, and she can't get out of it. She drowns. She's dead.
Dead?
Stone dead. And the wedding party is there, and the husband is there. And they go to get her, but the wedding dress was so heavy with the water, they couldn't pull her out.
Oh, my goodness.
And her head stayed underwater and dead as a doornail. Gone. And look at her picture. Look at her picture. Now, the family of Maria Pantazopoulos, they want more security at the river.
It's a little late for that, don't you think?
Hold it a minute. Hold it. You mean to stop people with wedding dresses from getting into the river? Excuse me. I'm sorry. Where do you think you're going, young lady? Where do you act like the bride to me, Christina? Where do you think you're going, young lady?
Down by the river.
Well, not in a wedding dress, you're not. You take that wedding dress off, and you can go down in that river and take all the photos you want.
I bet.
All right? Yeah. Yeah.
I thought she was going to be a fatty, but she's...
No, she's pretty.
No.
Yeah.
She was beautiful.
I love the headline I have from the Ottawa Citizen.
Yeah.
Maria Pantazopoulos.
Zapoulos, yeah.
In quotes, a really fun girl drowns in her wedding dress taking pictures in Rawdon. A really
Yeah,
fun
I mean,
girl.
listen, even in a backyard pool, not a good idea to jump into the water in your wedding dress.
Now, does that guy, is he a widow, or does the marriage count?
Yes, the marriage counts. He's a widower. They were already married. She was the bride. Not bride-to-be. They'd gotten married. This is their wedding day. This is the big day of their... And she was gorgeous.
Well,
Garrett.
People take pictures before the wedding, usually.
I have no idea. I don't know.
We have a Canadian online, too, that has a little bit of information about this whole
wait a
wedding
second.
dress.
Hey, Garrett, watch this. Garrett, look. They're Orthodox Greeks. She's really religious, and she's gorgeous. And so they've been dating for 3 years. Don't worry, on our wedding night, I'm going to lick your balls. I'm going to suck your dick. I'm going to lick your asshole. And I'm Greek. I'm going to let you jam it. I'm going to shave and bleach my asshole for you. Yeah. And the guy, Orthodox Greek, has been waiting for 3 years,
With
right?
his hairy asshole.
His dick is like a thermometer, okay, in a cartoon. Let's go to one of our reporters, Dan of Canada. Dan, come in. Now, I'm sorry that I'm ruining the names here. What's the name of that river? Ouareau, Orareau River? How do you say it?
I'm not really sure, Jay. I'm really not sure. And I know
Well,
you're going to yell.
You're from Canada. Yeah, you know what? You're right. By the way, if you're a listener to this show, don't tell me my emotions before I have them, if you don't mind. If you're a listener, now, are you from Canada, or are you bullshitting me?
No, I'm really in Canada. I'm actually only about probably 30 miles from Quebec now, going down the 401.
Yeah, he there. So what do you think of this? What's going on there with the poor dead bride?
It wasn't the wedding party. We have a ceremony up here. It's called trashing the dress. And what the brides do is after they get married, is they take pictures of them jumping into the lakes, or they're rolling in the mud with their wedding dresses on.
I did not know this.
That's what she was doing. She was trashing the dress. So they were getting pictures of her in the river with her dress on, and that's when it became loaded with water, and she slipped away and drowned.
She should have just put it on eBay.
Do you guys in Canada ever have like the where they grease the pig and the brides have to try and catch the pig?
Well, it all
By the way,
depends what kind of woman
Christina, what did you pay for your wedding dress, Christina? How much? Yeah, would you have jumped in a river or in mud with your wedding dress on?
I'm ready to set mine on fire.
No, I mean when you were blissfully married, and would you have done that? Okay.
No.
You know, Dan, listen, I don't want to besmirch an entire country. But that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. And now that has cost a woman her life. And that needs to be stopped. It needs to be stopped. It's like an honor killing, okay, Garrett? That's how I feel about it, all right? All right, tomorrow we do the same shit all over again. Goodbye.